following feature has been rated R by the Motion Picture Association of America. It is intended for mature audiences and parental discretion is advised. Advised.
So then I said to him, well, if you didn't want me to park here, you should have put up a sign. Then you know what this motherfucker said to me?
What?
He didn't even say anything because I'd parked on his head. Hi, everybody. Welcome. welcome. Yeah, we were just hanging out, telling some stories. There's this whole thing at the post office earlier. Welcome. It's Wednesday. And not only is it Wednesday, it is Wednesday before a holiday that I don't give a flying fuck about because it celebrates shit that I'm not into. And I know I'm not the only person who feels that way. As my guest tonight, returning for the first time since she made me watch goddamn Van Helsing.
You're welcome.
Yeah, because that's the tone of voice I'm using. It's a grateful tone of voice. Is WillowWolfVT. Welcome back, Willow. Your timeout, your detention is up.
I had to sit in the corner for such a long time, you guys.
I know.
I was so sad.
Yeah.
It was so sad.
I cleaned it. There's no buckets over there. It's
all by myself.
Oh my god. Oh shit. It's been a while since I've had you. I've known you like almost as long as I've known Viscera. And Viscera is OG. She's the one that like the first friend I made in this whole creator space. So that definitely means that like you're not like Damien who's like outside. Like I would never make you wait outside. Like Damien.
Yeah, you would never you would never like face me against a tree and leave me out there. I got to be in timeout indoors.
Yeah, I was never like, Damien, go to your ditch. Yeah. So yeah, this is my Thanksgiving horror show, and I couldn't think of anyone better to spend it with because you and I always have a good time on here, even though we have wildly different ideas of what makes a good movie.
Listen, it's a good time.
Yeah.
It's always a good time. I mean, subjectively.
Yes, subjectively.
I always have a good time.
I guess that's all that matters. What's going on, chat? Welcome. What's up, Faust? First? Damn, dude, you were here like an hour early. What the hell, dude? Hello. Damn, that's dedication. That's it. You should all aspire to be Faust. Who's early as fuck.
Everybody try to be first in line to get stabbed by Grimm. Like, what's the issue here?
Yeah, I'm not even gonna stab Faust. He was here so early. See, even the Hellhound is trying to be more like Faust.
Yeah, he's scolding everybody right now.
Absolutely. He's like, how dare you? How dare you just casually show up? Like, oh hey, you're doing a thing. Now that I'm done berating chat, hi, what's up, Crow? Oh my God, Willow's in the chat, but Willow's here. So weird.
Spooky.
Shit. Jerome Valeska, how's it going, bitch? Ha ha ha! There's your Nightmare on Elm Street 250. Holy shit, it's Lark Bark. Hey, buddy, haven't seen you in a while. And David Dino, 81, welcome for the first time. Lurk, hi, Grimm. Hello. Billy, as usual, always good to see you. Always good to see you. And Jonathan, welcome. All right, so like I said, fuck Thanksgiving, but you know what? For anyone who celebrates it just to like be with your family or whatever and eat some good food and all that good stuff, that's disgusting, and I'm disappointed in you. But you know what? That's your prerogative. But we're not here to really celebrate Thanksgiving because we have a fun topic to talk about because Willow recently binged a whole bunch of a certain franchise's entries, and she approached me and was like, hey, we should do a horror show about this. I was like, well, I never know what I'm doing week to week, so I guess we'll do it. We'll do it now. Fuck it. So yeah, I take no blame for whether or not this is a good show or not. This is all on her. This is her idea.
Just to make it clear to everybody.
Uh-huh.
The responsibility is mine.
Yes, I accept.
I will happily claim.
Yes, I will not be blamed for anything that transpires. Okay, with that legal disclaimer out of the way, let's fucking go upstairs and get started.
Yeah.
It just I hadn't been in the basement in a long time, and God, it's dirty. I really need to fix that. Although I am having some new construction done at a place not too far from here, other side of town, and that is going to be coming up here in the future, and that is something to look forward to. It's going to be a new place to hang out, so because I don't just want to stay in the house all the time. It's not good for you. I hear things. I can hear.
You gotta get out sometimes.
Yeah, I can hear Damien streaming in the garage, and it's really annoying. So I got to get out of here sometimes. But yeah, so in case the title of the stream tonight didn't clue you in, we're talking about killer dolls tonight because whether it's a holiday or a birthday or what the fuck ever, everybody loves a good killer doll.
Yeah, who doesn't like toys?
Exactly. You're never too old for toys.
I mean, they might be trying to kill you, but still, it's a good way to get in the cardio.
Actually, these are collectible figures. Okay. So, killer dolls, I'm trying to think of, a good way to, start talking about this topic. I just have to go with the...
Okay,
Oh, no, go ahead.
Do we want to talk about just me hyperfixating on the Chucky franchise?
We're gonna get to that.
Okay.
Very shortly. But what I wanted to say was that what it is about them that makes them so unsettling and terrifying, and it all goes back to the uncanny valley. It's something that looks human or is imitating a human form or facial features and stuff like that, but it isn't. And it triggers that response in your brain, whether it's dolls, toys, animatronics. I know Rummy is super afraid of animatronics and stuff like that. And it's the same thing with analog kind of stuff where it looks old and it looks vaguely human, but it's kind of dirty and there's something off about it. The proportions are wrong. The smile's too big. The eyes are dead. Shit like that. It tends to trigger something in you that is different from seeing someone in a mask trying to kill you or a monster or a ghost or something. And I think it's unique to this specific genre or subgenre.
Yeah.
So that's No, go ahead.
Well, and I think it's also kind of the corruption of something about an innocent childhood object where it's supposed to be the thing that's safe. It's something that is beloved by a child, and
right.
It's the complete corruption of that.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's something that's supposed to be safe, but it's absolutely not.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, that's a really good way to put it because everybody had you had a grandma or something that had that one doll that was creepy, that just creeped you out, that you felt like it was looking at you or something. Everybody has something like that, or you saw something that just fucking, gave you the creeps and stuff. What if that thing started talking to me? What if that thing got up and ran around? Or what if I look away and look back and it was gone? I would shit my pants, stuff like that. It's definitely, and that goes way back to them using dolls as effigies, voodoo dolls, all that kind of stuff, representations of, whether even just statues and carvings and stuff like that, having spirits in them, I think is, animating the inanimate is something that is always going to be unsettling. something that is it's just good fodder for horror. It it just really is.
Definitely. Well, like the first nightmare I can remember having as a child was about like toys that were trying to like hurt me and kill me. And like I was in the dream I was in a hospital. Apparently I had just gotten really messed up and was in like a full body cast.
Oh.
And all these like little toys that were like, it was like little tiny like army men and like small dolls and stuff like that, just not even anything Chucky size, just like small handheld toys.
Yeah.
Like just kind of slowly trickled into the room through like the door that was cracked open. And they just started slowly swarming over my body and trying to like pull open and tear open my cast and like get into any little crevice that they could so that they could start like, tearing at my skin. And it was horrifying. And I was like a little child, like a little baby, a little child having this nightmare.
Yeah, and I mean it's also like when you think about a premise like that, you're like, oh, that's one of the things, and we will get to Chucky, don't worry. But a lot of people say who are not scared by that or not bothered by it. I think a part of it is just that keyboard warrior part of your brain's like, well, I just kicked the fucking thing. It's tiny. It's not as strong as a human being. Blah blah blah. And it's like that's not the point. The point is that something like a doll or a mannequin or something starts moving or coming towards you. Your initial reaction is not going to be. You might have a fight, or the fight side of fight or flight response, but it's still going to stop you dead because it's something that should not be. And
plus, like it's not like kicking a living, biological thing. Like you could kick it and stomp it, but how do you kill a toy?
Yeah. You kill something. You're fighting something that is not technically alive. It's the visage of life. It's an imitation of something that would be alive, whether it's a baby doll or a mannequin or something. And Jonathan brought up a good one, the Battleground. That story, that Stephen King story from Nightmares and Dreamscapes, where this guy he's like a piece of shit. And he financially ruined some guy who ended up dying or killing himself or something who owned a toy store. And he gets a package in the mail, and it's a whole bunch of small, like soldiers, like those little green soldiers that everybody has had, or at least is aware of at some point. And they come to life and start attacking him, shooting him with like tiny projectiles and stuff like that. And it's got a really great ending. But yeah, it doesn't matter how small or large they are. It's something malicious. It's like ants, like enough ants would swarm over you and kill you, or bugs or something like that. It's just that they're tiny visages of human beings and stuff like that, or there's something. And it's also, like you said, the terror and the familiar with like childhood toys and memories and stuff like that being turned into something evil is very much a fucking like cool way to fuck with somebody's nostalgia.
Yeah, definitely.
No, and Ginger. Hi, Ginger. Also, yeah, small soldiers. Even fucking Toy Story. Think about that. Think about Toy Story, the premise for that. Where, like, you're not in your room and all your shit's, like, running around and has lives and stuff like that and are, like, interacting and talking. And then when they hear you come in, they all just fall down and act like they're not real. Like, that's fucked up. Like, that's...
Yeah. No, it is. It is. Well, and then, even, the kid, Sid...
Yeah.
Who, he was just like taking his toys apart and like making new things with them.
Yeah.
And everything. And if you just the concept of like they're actually alive. You're like tearing quote unquote living things apart and stitching them together into these like Frankenstein things. It's like all of a sudden it takes like a very dark context.
Yeah, there's also there is a sect of like Japanese Shintoism that believes that every object on the planet has its own life force and its own spirit. So like your TV remote does, your action figures do, like all the shit that your phone does, everything does, because these are things that we interact with. Or like you look at something and you might talk to it, or you might laugh at it or something like that, and like you acknowledging it like it is something that is alive or something that could acknowledge you back gives it life. So that's kind of the idea of like a tulpa or like a golem or something like that. Like these things have been or existed forever, so they're all very much linked to like, you know, urban legends and tall tales and, you know, old stories that were, you know, like, hey, you know, take care of your shit and it'll take care of you kind of thing. It's very interesting. But yes, we can finally get into Chucky because Willow binged all of the Child's Play movies and the TV show, and she really wants to talk about it. So I guess we should do like mini reviews for all of the Child's Play stuff.
Oh gosh.
So did you go in order?
Not quite.
Okay.
I watched Seed of Chucky, and then I was like, no, well, now I need to go back and watch Bride of Chucky.
So you want to start at the end and then go back to the good stuff. I got you.
So you know, so I did Seed of Chucky, Bride of Chucky. Then I did Curse of Chucky, and what was it called? The Cult of Chucky.
Yeah. Oh, that
then went back.
Yeah, Billy actually brought up a good point. Did you watch the remake?
I did not. No.
Don't.
Because I've seen the remake in the past, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
So no, I skipped that one.
That's fine. That's fine.
But yeah, so like, caught myself up on those, then went back and watched, you know, like the OG, like first, second, third, and then I watched the show. Yeah.
Okay. So for the sake of this, I guess we should go. We'll go in order. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You hear that? You hear that? You hear that, chat? Be like foul.
Mom, stop. So obviously, like, first one is just an absolute classic. It does such a good job of making Chucky just like so fucking creepy.
Yes.
Because just the concept of, you know, you've got this skeezy serial killer guy.
Yes, that's a good way to put what Brad Dourif looked like. He like dipped his hair in the fryer at like fucking Taco Bell or something. Yeah.
Yes. Like he just looks like a grease ball.
Yeah.
And you know, for that kind of guy to teleport his soul into a good guy doll that's supposed to be, you know, it's like the big most popular children's toy, and to actually get into the hands of a child, the movie knows what it is. The movie knows that like it's kind of a silly concept, but it does such a good job of like making it actually scary.
Yes.
And just I feel so bad for Andy. And throughout like all of the films and the show, Andy has been through hell.
Yeah. Like
absolute hell. He has lost everything because of Chucky.
Yeah. He was never able to like have a real life or anything because, you know, not only did he get followed for like 3 whole films, but like just the fallout from that and what that has done to him, because we do see him later. As an adult. But yeah, the first film is a really good, just straight up horror movie with like a nice supernatural twist. And the thing I love about the original film is not only are the effects and stuff amazing in it, because they are. It's Kevin Yeager. All right, anything Kevin Yeager does is amazing. Kevin Yeager also married the lead actress in that movie. Like after that production, he met her. That. Yeah, and he was like, "Hey, I designed the doll that's gonna be trying to kill you. Do you want to like go get dinner?" Like I'm assuming that's how that went. But yeah, no, he married her. Chris Sarandon is in it, and he's awesome in everything that he's in, because of course he starts off as a, you know, the doll's trying. It's like the doll's trying. Okay, what the fuck ever, lady, you're insane. And then he finds out. But what I love about the first one is like it does give you just enough that early on, if you're seeing it for the first time, and like if you were watching this when it originally came out, you would start to believe that maybe Andy was the one who was doing the killing and
yeah.
shit. Because you know, it's not until that one pivotal.
It's like,
yeah. No, it does.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. Yeah. It definitely makes you question, like, what's actually happening here.
It was also the first time that we got somebody outside of Freddy who had a whole lot of personality and was able to drop out one-liners and stuff like that, but still remain scary and like crack a smile and laugh and stuff like that. Be really maniacal. Because outside of Freddy, we didn't really have that.
Yeah, no, and that's why I love Chucky so fucking much. Like, I hadn't watched a Chucky movie in a long time, but you know, it's like, and obviously I started with just like the silliest, goofiest movies in the franchise.
Yes.
But even like the really silly, goofy ones, they're so much fun. Like, it's so fun just to watch Chucky, you know, work and do his thing.
Yeah.
And just the way he talks, the dark humor he's, you know, constantly spewing, the one-liners and everything. It's just like, you can't help but like him even though he's horrible.
Yes, he's super charismatic. And he only gets more charismatic as it goes on. The first one, like I said, is like a straight up horror film. So he's got the charisma and the attitude and stuff like that. But there's the first one really went with the POV shots early on until there is the reveal that Chucky is alive. There's really creepy moments too, like where, you know, she opens him up and sees that there's no batteries in him, and his head turns out, "Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?" And she drops him and he rolls under the couch. And then like when she's like,
oh my God.
I love the scene where she says, she's like, "Speak to me or I'll throw you in the fire." And then he comes alive. He's like, "You stupid bitch, you filthy slut." He starts going off on her.
Yes. Oh my God. And then, you know, he does, you know, she does like get him, like put him on fire and everything. And he just gets so fucked up. And even after that, like, he's still alive and like he's still coming for her. And he's just this charred doll corpse coming after her. Like that, like that's one of the scariest, like I think that moment is one of the scariest moments in the whole franchise, in my opinion.
Yes.
When he's just all burned up.
Yeah, when he's just smoking and he's still got those super blue eyes underneath it all, so it just pops. You can see his teeth and shit. Yeah, and there's that. And there's also the really creepy shit where like Andy's in the asylum or whatever, and he looks out the window and sees Chucky coming up the stairs outside.
Oh my God.
You're like, what the fuck? Like, oh my God.
It's like, I'm not having a good time here, but at least like he had this sense that's like, at least I'm safe here, you know? Like at least Chucky is dead
I'm
gone.
locked in here and he can't get to me. And then he looks out the window and sees him climbing the stairs. He's like, oh shit. Or although my favorite part is where he's sitting in the elevator and the lady's like, "Ugly doll." And as the elevator goes, he's just like, "Fuck you, lady." But yeah, the first one's a really good, like, straight up horror movie, so that's why I really love the first one.
Yeah, definitely. Oh fuck, I might have them mixed up. Was it the second one or the third one where the guys who are in charge of, you know, the good guy doll, like the factories and everything?
That's the second one.
Yeah. So at that point, you know, it's like after everything that happened with Chucky and Andy and everything, obviously PR nightmare for
that would be easy to sweep under the rug. So it's like there's two different ways for that. Like the third one starts and then after the end of the second one is like the factory was closed down, and then they bring him back. You know, they bring back the good guy dolls. The second one, the good guy dolls are still in like full swing, and they talk about the incident with Andy and what happened, and it's like, oh, it's pure nonsense. It's just some kid and his mom having a psychotic break. It's got nothing to do with us. We've distanced ourselves, blah, blah, blah. So,
but then that weird accident happens, like at the beginning where the guy they're assembling like one of the good guys, and dude just gets electrocuted and thrown across the room and dies. And they're like, fuck.
Yeah. Well, okay, so let's cap that off. Okay, so the first Child's Play, out of 10, what do you rank it?
Oh, 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
100%.
It is a great horror movie, and it's a classic for a reason. I can agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I can't think of anything that I like would have any kind of big complaint about.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's definitely scary, super entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
The effects are awesome.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like completely practical effects. Just yeah, I have no complaints. 10 out of 10 for the first one.
Yeah, and the funny thing about the first one was the original name of the movie, the script that Don Mancini wrote was called Blood Buddy. You know, his take on My Buddy and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And Tom Holland, the only reason that because Don Mancini was like 19 or 20 when he wrote that, and that script sat around for a long time, and then Tom Holland had read a book that was about a killer doll, and he was like, "Wow, I'd really love to make something like that. You know, that would be really, really amazing." Because he had just gotten done. He did not make horror movies at the time. Like, he hadn't done a horror movie.
Yeah.
And then he got the script for Blood Buddy. He contacted Don Mancini and had him come in, and he's like, you know, Don Mancini is like, I have no fucking clue what I'm doing. He's like, I'm 20 years old, and he's like, I'm talking to this guy who works for Disney. Like, what the hell am I doing here? So they rewrote it, and they came up with Chucky and all that stuff. And, you know, that's how Brad got involved with it. And then it just kind of snowballed, and it became this thing. And the thing that I think I love the most is, like Freddy Krueger, Brad Dourif has, outside of one instance, always played the character. And he's always come back for it. And I don't know, I don't even know if he cares what he makes off of doing the voice for the character, because he just, when you see interviews with him talking about it, he just loves doing it so much.
Yeah.
So it was the first one was very much like a perfect storm of like situations. You got a guy who's interested, you got this new writer, and then you've got some star power coming in, Chris Sarandon, Brad Dourif, and it was a fucking hit. And then of course, like, they were like, oh, let's make a sequel, and Don Mancini was like, what? And then we go into Child's Play 2.
Yep. But yeah, so like so second one, like, as far as overall rating, I'd give it like an 8.
Yeah.
I could give it an 8 out of 10. Like, I felt like the second one was still pretty strong.
Yes.
Not as good as the first one, but still good.
Well, the second one leans a lot more into the one-liners and stuff with Chucky, and plus it's one of those things where like is the doll alive? Is the kid crazy? Is the mom crazy? That only works once, because once you figure out and once it's revealed that the doll is alive, then it's like, well, you can't go back to. You can only play on the fact that people would never believe this person, regardless of whether they're telling the truth or not. And that's what happens with the rest of the Child's Play films. That trick of trying to fool the audience into thinking, like, is the doll really alive, or no, that's preposterous, you know, and then so on and so forth. That only works once, especially if you're making multiple sequels. Which is the funny thing about Friday the 13th. As much as I love Friday the 13th, it's like, you'd think after, like, the first 3 movies, you're like, okay, just don't go to Crystal Lake. Just don't go there, ever. Just stop. Just stop fucking going there. It's like the same thing in Haddonfield. It's like, really, like it's oh, Halloween's coming, and then the whole town goes on vacation, so Michael's just there by himself. Like, that's all you would have to do to avoid these repeat situations. So, but with Child's Play 2, I like the fact that, you know, it's sad, but it's a real kind of like logical progression of events where, like, you know, of course he's taken from his mom. His mom is largely blamed sort of for some of the shit that happened in the first one, and they're talking about how, oh, this is ridiculous, even though multiple people saw it and everything. That reality check kicks in. It's like, nobody's gonna fucking believe me. I'm gonna lose my job. I'm gonna be discredited. I'm gonna be like fucking blasted in the media and stuff like that. So you figure that, like, it's like, yeah, I don't know what happened. It must have been it was somebody. We never caught the guy or something like that, you know. So Andy's taken from his mom. He goes to foster family. And I gotta say, the best part of the second one aside from the whole end sequence in the factory, which is just amazing, is his foster sister.
Oh yeah.
She's amazing. She's fantastic, and like their chemistry is like so real, and like you get like in the beginning she's like, yeah, whatever, kid, I don't give a shit. You know, we're not even related, so who fucking cares? That they kind of bond and grow together as the movie goes on. That's the glue
also,
that held that one together.
Yeah, also I just love that her name is Kyle.
Yeah.
Like, not a name that like you would expect like a girl to have.
Yeah.
But it suits her so well, and she's just so cool. She's a little badass.
Yeah, she is. And that actress didn't even get the job initially. She read for it and she was not cast. And then she went and she got she was on a couple TV shows. She was on like Baywatch and stuff like that. And then she came back because that was something that she did when she didn't have a lot of confidence or experience. And then she came back after she had done some stuff and redid the line, and she came back and was much more confident, much more like, look, I've got a schedule, I've got shit to do here, I'm reading for this again, like, you know, and she just she killed it. So they're like, no, absolutely, we want you. And she did a great job, and she even comes back later in the series, which I was really happy to see her come back too.
Yeah.
She's absolutely, like, aside from Andy, like, one of the best characters in the entire franchise.
Oh, definitely. Absolutely.
And yeah, Jonathan brings it up. If you haven't seen the documentary Living with Chucky, it's on Tubi, so you can watch it for free. And it goes through the entire franchise. Tom Holland's on there, Don Mancini, Brad Dourif. Like, everybody is on there talking about it.
Well, gonna...
It's good.
I haven't seen that, so I'm going to have to bookmark
I'll remind you later.
Yes.
So yeah, Child's Play 2 also, like, the kills and stuff got more inventive, because in the original there's a lot of wide shots and, like, you know, like knee down shots of what is clearly a little person in a costume. Yeah. Whereas in the second movie and on, the animatronics and the special effects guys, Kevin Yeager in particular, got so good with doing the puppeteering and stuff, they didn't need that anymore. It was all practical effects. So there was never any kind of jarring transition to a living person in a costume to a puppet. It was all a puppet. So it was very seamless with how he moved and behaved and stuff like that. And yeah, the whole end of Child's Play 2, I love that. That whole bit in the factory was so good.
He gets so fucked up.
He does. He does.
So like, he's just like mangled just to hell. Like, just awful. And then they like dump what was it? It was like melted rubber, plastic or something. On him and like melt him to death.
Yeah, he's like melted into this big pile of fuck. But even before that, like there's one guy working there at night, and like he gets fucked up. Like Chucky like cuts his Achilles tendon, and he falls in the machine, and then he gets doll eyes jammed in his head. That was a good kill. That was my favorite kill in the movie.
It definitely was. Well, like, and just like throughout this whole movie, like it really, like, if you felt bad for Andy in the first one, you're gonna feel even worse for him in this.
Yeah, because he's got no one on his side until like over halfway through the film. Like, even his foster sister, as cool as Kyle is, doesn't believe him because you know, and who the fuck would? Especially when you're talking about a kid who was obviously traumatized for some weird shit that he went through, and he's still on this killer doll kick. You're like, okay. But yeah, that whole end sequence where like Chucky like gets his hand mangled and he jams the knife blade into it, so he's got a knife hand, and then they like, he gets stuck on the conveyor belt and he goes through this big machine and like literally takes off the lower half of his body, and he's like on a little like skateboard cart like crawling towards him. And then, yeah, they dump all the hot rubber on him and shit, and he's still not dead. And one thing that we didn't talk about in the first one is the longer that Charles Lee Ray is possessing the doll, the more human the doll becomes, which is why he starts to look more human, and he also starts to bleed and stuff like that. So he's feeling pain, very much so. So in the end of the movie, he gets the hot rubber dumped on him, and he's still trying to kill him, and then they jam the hose in his mouth, and his head explodes. Like, that was a great effect. And then they just leave.
God. Yep. they're just like, you know what? We're good. This is, we're pretty sure we've taken care of the problem now. Let's go. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, aside from nuking the site from orbit, there's not much else we could do to kill this guy.
Yeah. Well, plus, I think Chucky, killed the foster parents, too. So, they literally have nowhere to go.
Hey, Phil, how's it hanging? Yeah. He does. He takes out the foster parents. So you're assuming that either Andy's blamed for this or Kyle's blamed for this because, leading to the third movie, it's completely, it's years later. Andy was 6 in the first one. He's 7 or 8 in the second one, and then we transition and he's supposed to be 16 or 17 in the third one. But the second one I really enjoyed a lot, especially the teacher who gets beat to death with the ruler.
Oh yeah. Oh my god.
That's a good one.
That's another thing that's great about just the Chucky movies in general is just how creative they get with his kills.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's you're already dealing with a killer doll, so why not just amp it up to 100 with the types of kills?
Oh yeah, fucking lean into it, make it ironic, make it goofy and over the top. You know how hard you'd have to go, and B, how tough that ruler would have to be to beat someone to death with it. You know, so I love but in a movie about a killer doll possessed by a serial killer, you're like, okay, I can believe this. So
well, the show, it has a part that kind of addresses that, where Chucky has one of the characters pinned down, and the kid's like, well, how the fuck are you so strong? He's like, yeah, it doesn't really make any sense, does it? I'm like I'm magic, bitch.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I love it that he has a sense of humor about it too. He's like, I don't know how this works. He's like, I'm gonna be an 8-year-old boy again. He gets giddy about it and shit because he's obviously insane. You don't really meet Charles Lee Ray before he's Chucky. Everything that you learn about him as far as what he is like and what kind of a person he probably was, you learn after the fact that he's transferred his soul into the good guy doll. So you're like, okay. And also, interesting thing is Charles Lee Ray, the name, was an amalgamation of Charles Manson, Lee Harvey Oswald, and then I don't remember who the third one was, but they're all serial killers just jammed together. That's how they came up with the name Charles Lee Ray. Nice. He's supposed to be some kind of Uber, the Lakeshore Stranglers, the alpha serial killer or whatever like that. He's the ultimate.
He's the absolute.
Yeah, no, he's the peak.
Yes.
So, all right. So, Child's Play 2. You say you give that an 8?
Yeah, 8 out of 10. Just because, still really good.
Yeah.
But I don't know. The first one is just such a classic that I don't feel that they're totally equal, but still fucking great movie.
Yeah, I don't think they're equal either. I think that the second one is definitely a good follow-up. And there's a lot of people that hate Halloween 2. I'm not talking about the Rob Zombie movie, you assholes, so don't even bring it up. I'm talking about the original Rick Rosenthal sequel to the original that just kind of picks it up right where it left off. It's a logical progression of events. It's what makes sense. If Michael just went back to hiding in the shadows and taking 4 hours to fucking kill somebody, you'd be like, oh, it's just the first one again, only not as good.
Yeah.
So you have to, it's an escalation of everything that happened in the first one. So there's no reason for, so again, they spin it on its head. They're like, okay, Andy knows that Chucky is real. Nobody else is going to believe him because who the fuck would, realistically? And it's like, okay, that works. And that's kind of what they play with throughout the rest of the franchise. So I'm with you there. I give it an 8, 8.5 somewhere there, pretty fucking high up there. Really good sequel. That definitely ups the effects and the gore and stuff like that over the first one. But then we get into Child's Play 3. Now, Child's Play 3 was Don Mancini has said that he's not a fan of. He has said that he wrote it in a weekend. Because Child's Play 2 and 3 were done basically back to back almost. They were knocked out very quick in terms of writing. James Earl Ray, thank you. So it with that one, they did not bring what is his name? The guy who plays Andy, the kid who's now a grown man. His name is Andrew, isn't it? Wasn't his name Andrew?
I don't remember.
I don't remember his name either, but they did not bring him back because he was still too young. They wanted Andy. Alex Vincent, thank you, Jerome. I knew it started with an A. It's definitely an A name. So they went for somebody older in the 16, 17 range, and that's where we enter Justin Whalen, whom, if you don't know Justin Whalen from this movie, you probably know him from the Dungeons and Dragons movie, with Jeremy Irons, you know, blood ray from the sky. That fucking Dungeons and Dragons movie, with Bruce Payne and his blue lips. That movie's a beautiful pile of shit. And he was this like super baby-faced guy that like you could see him being like on a teen heartthrob magazine in like the 80s and the 90s, but for some reason he never like blew up. I assumed that he would, but he didn't. And then he later retired from acting, and it was like after Dungeons and Dragons, he basically retired from acting, and he teaches high school or something somewhere in like Minnesota. So that'd be crazy to like go to school and like, oh hey, it's hi Andy, like you know, just and I've heard that he's a chill guy about it and everything. Like he'll talk about it and stuff, but he doesn't do events or anything. He just kind of like stepped away from all that stuff. But I hear like if you run into him, like you can totally ask him, like, hey man, you know, can I take a picture with you? Can I ask you some stuff? I've heard that he's pretty chill about it. So he's just, you know, he's just one of those actors that was like, all right, I'm done. I did my thing. You know, I either wasn't into it or I did what I wanted to, and now I found something else I want to do. So he, you know, good for him. He's doing his thing. But I thought he was a good actor. I thought he was an underrated actor. And I thought he did a good job as Andy in this movie.
Yeah.
Because he definitely comes across as someone who's super shy and guarded, and definitely as somebody who acts like they're constantly being judged by everybody because of his past and shit. And that's what somebody that's been through those first two movies would be like. He's
not gonna be like an outgoing social butterfly like at all. And and no, like somebody who basically is constantly being accused of being nuts.
Yeah.
And everyone thinks he's just crazy.
Yeah. So what do you do with the child who is soft spoken and sensitive and a little twisted? You send him to military school. That'll straighten him out.
To military school.
That'll straighten him out.
Like we'll toughen this weird sissy boy up.
Yeah, right. That's kind of what it is. And then he has like there's the one kid who's like, you know, the sergeant or whatever the dude who's in charge of all the boys or something. He's this complete fuckface asshole who just doesn't ever miss an opportunity to shit on shit on Andy or shit on his nerdy friend with glasses who's like some guy that Static would super be into. I don't remember his name. The guy who jumps on a grenade in the end of the movie. So yeah, there's this total asshole bully guy fucking with him and shitting on him and stuff like that. And Chucky like, okay, so Chucky comes back. It's got a really cool opening sequence in 3. I actually love 3. I actually like 3 better than 2. And I know that's blasphemy. A lot of people hate 3. But just like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, there's something about 3 that I really enjoy, even though even Don Mancini doesn't like it. 3 it starts off with them like bringing back Chucky or bringing back the good guys. You know, the factory's closed down and it's all dusty, and there's just hands dusting everything off and turning the machines on. Corpse of that guy with the doll eyes is probably still on the conveyor belt. Just throw him in the trash, get him out of the fucking way, you know, so we could get back to work.
Yeah.
They just never cleaned it up. They never came in, you know.
Yeah, and the justification of it all was basically that like a remnant of Chucky's body and like blood or whatever gets mixed in with,
I love that, like
with
that
material.
Well, again, just like the dead body of the guy who was probably still on the conveyor belt, this pile of melted fucking gore is still just sitting there on the floor. Like nobody cleaned this up. Like
nope, it's like if the police even investigated it at all,
Yeah.
they just were just like, all right, we're done. It's
Like,
we don't want to deal with this.
Walked in like, huh, that's weird, and they just turn the lights off. Like,
Yes.
so yeah, this big like claw game crane comes down and picks up this pile of melted shit. And like picks it up and is like carrying it across the factory, and this thing is still actively bleeding too. Is my favorite part. It's still like fresh blood on it. It's like, what?
It's like, how long has this been sitting around?
Yeah, it's like, does anybody not notice that if this is leaving a trail? Like, so yeah, it goes across the vat of rubber, like melted rubber or plastic or whatever they're using for the dolls, and the blood drips in, and then they mold the Chucky doll head, and it smiles like Chucky, which I thought was so cool. I was like, oh, this is awesome.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, he's back or whatever. And I was looking at it, and you know, it goes from there, and it's like they're bringing back the good guys for nostalgia purposes or whatever. Like, oh, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, now let's bring him back. And it's like, you know,
It's a revival. It's been like 8 years or whatever.
Yeah, and the guy who runs the good guy toy company or whatever, he's like a cross between like Connell Cochran, where like he's kind of like he's kind of sadistic and weird. He's like, fuck that kid, he was crazy, nobody gives a shit, everybody forgot about that. And also Dick Jones from RoboCop, where he's like, the profit margins are gonna be off the chart, fuck these kids, well, just they're little consumers, you know, little bastards. You know, he's this total like caricature of what like an 80s business guy is or whatever.
You know, the heartless CEO.
Yeah, and he's like playing golf in his office. Like, of course you are, asshole. Of course you play golf in your office. And he's got all the toys everywhere, and of course the good guy doll that he gets is Chucky, right? Who comes alive and kills him with a golf club, and it's great. So then he mails himself to Andy.
Yeah.
Which he climbs in the box. Like, I don't know how he wrapped himself up, but he mails himself to Andy at the military school. Like, he gets on the interweb, in which I don't know how Charles Lee Ray knew how to use the internet, but hey, he's magic, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So he mails himself to Andy, but Andy's not the one who opens him up, is it, Willow?
Nope.
You know who?
Nope.
Who? Tell us who opens him up.
It was it was Tyler, wasn't it?
Yes, his name was Tyler.
Yeah.
The most annoying child on the planet. I've seen
Tyler.
I've watched
Tyler.
Like, there's Bob from House by the Cemetery, there's Willie from Absurd, and then there's Tyler from Child's Play, and I would kill Tyler over the other two every fucking time. This kid is just so annoying. And one of the things I love about this movie is that nobody else seems to acknowledge how annoying this fucking kid is except Chucky.
Yeah.
He's so annoyed and pissed off that this is the kid he has to go after, because this is the first one he shared his secret with. That's how the voodoo spell works. It's the first person that he reveals himself to, he can end up swapping souls with and possessing their body. That's why it was Andy originally, but now that he's basically come back from the dead and been remade, the first person he told was Tyler, who's this young African-American child, and that also leads to the immortal line that nobody ever wants to talk about, Chucky's gonna be a bro. Which was just a bit of writing that
oh my God.
I'm sure whoever wrote that, I'm sure Don Mancini was never like, this is never gonna come back and bite me in the ass. It's the third movie. Nobody's gonna remember this. Oh, Don, it's all we remember about this movie.
Oh my God. But no, I love that he like fucking he prioritizes the annoying kid over going to kill Andy, which was the whole point of him like mailing himself there. But he's like, no, fuck this kid.
Well, he realizes it. He's like, oh hey, I can switch with this kid because this kid's a fucking idiot. And like that, my favorite like illustration of how much of an idiot Tyler is he's sitting there while the Scorpio killer from Dirty Harry, Andrew Robinson, you know, the dad from Hellraiser who's playing this sadistic barber who gets off on cutting people's hair. Which is fantastic. You know, he sees the Good Guy commercial come on TV, and fucking dumbass Tyler's got a Sega Game Gear he's just constantly playing, and nobody, like, ever questions. Like, everybody else is not allowed to have any fun ever. If anybody else tries to have fun in this movie, that asshole Sergeant Kid at Arms or whatever, the kid who's in charge of all the, bullies the shit out of him and then makes him do push-ups. But Tyler's just allowed to sit around and play video games all day. I'm pretty sure that, like, his parents just left him there. They're like, fuck this kid. We'll have another one. It's fine. You can keep him. They were supposed to come pick him up, and then they never did. You know, one of those things. And the military school's like, well, I don't know what to do with this kid, so whatever. Fuck him. Just give him a Game Gear. So he's playing video games. He looks up. He sees this Good Guy commercial for a doll that is clearly outdated at this point. This is not something that would be, like, a huge hit outside of, like, nostalgia or anything. He like, basically, like, I could almost see him, like, throwing his Game Gear in the trash because he goes, wow, in, like, slow motion, all dramatic. I was like, kid, you are fucking dumb. Because I had a Game Gear, and it was awesome, and I would not trade that for a fucking doll. So this kid sucks.
But it's a doll that talks to you, Grimm. It could be your best friend to the end.
Teddy Ruxpin existed. I never had one, and I didn't give a shit. So, like, yeah, and Chucky is the only one who, like, knows that this kid is annoying as shit, and just, like, you know, he's, like, trying to, like, play, like, Tito's like, we're gonna play hide and seek, Charles, and he's like, language, Charles, and he's like, oh, shut the fuck up, kid. And he's, like, trying to find him. He's like, where are you, you little bastard? Like, he wants to possess this kid and kill him. Like, he does not like this kid at all, and I love it. And there's some really good kills in this movie, like the guy who gets in the garbage truck that apparently is like a it's like a full-on saw trap in the back of this garbage truck. Like, that's not how garbage trucks work.
No. They're supposed to just, you know, hold the garbage, not like
they're not supposed to shred it with a wall of spikes and shit. Like that was insane. And my favorite kill in the whole movie, though, is the, like, general or whatever. When he comes in, he's just like, ah! And he comes out with the knife, he's looking all demonic and scary, and the guy just has a heart attack, and Chucky's like, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
He just fucking drops dead.
Yeah. He falls on his model of, like World War II or whatever. He falls through the glass. The fucking, like, A1 Abram tank goes up his ass, and he dies, and Charles, like, Chucky's just sitting there with his knife, like, are you serious? Like, and yeah, he kills Andrew Robinson, the barber. He cuts his throat with a straight razor when he's trying to, like, this guy's such a, like, he's got such a weird fetish for cutting hair. Like, he's, like, gonna cut this doll's hair. He's like, that haircut's not regulation, soldier. It's like, what the hell? Like,
oh my god.
Like, everybody in this movie's a fucking character. And it also the movie culminates has one of the coolest, like, endings, but first of all, they're playing like war games, right? It's almost like paintball or capture the flag or something.
It's basically paintball. But Chucky
with real rifles
swaps out. Yeah. Like, it gives them fucking live ammunition.
Well, that's he switches there's the blue team and the red team, and, like, Andy and everybody's on the blue team, and then the red team is just a bunch of fucking jobbers who are just extras or whatever.
Yeah.
So Chucky goes
red team gets the real thing.
Yeah, red team, he swaps out all of the ammunition for the red team's rifles and just fills them with live, like, Full Metal Jacket fucking ammo. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, those are marker rounds. Those are real. Like, those are actually a real thing. But it would still hurt like a son of a bitch to get shot with one of those. It's not like a paintball gun. Yeah. Like, they're pretending this is like, oh, it's like paintball. Like, oh, it just might leave a welt. No. Yeah. Those could, like, break bones. If you got shot in the eye, you'd fucking die. You got shot in the throat, it'd crush your larynx. Like, and none of them are wearing any kind of protective gear at all. They're just running around in their little berets shooting at each other in the woods. And there's no adults in sight, might I add.
Yeah.
Like, there's, like, two whole adults that work there, and they're already fucking dead. Unless you count the garbage man, in which case it's 3.
You know, it's like it was a different time. It was the 90s, Grimm.
Yeah, I remember the 90s. I remember me and my friends used to go out in the woods and just shoot at each other. Jesus Christ. So, but that's not even the best part. Like, that whole thing happens, and the nerdy kid, Chucky throws a live grenade at him, and the nerdy kid sacrifices himself.
Yep.
So, the great thing is, just right next door to where all these children are shooting at each other like it's Lord of the Flies in the fucking woods, there's an amusement park, but not just any amusement park. It is the most dangerous amusement park I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, God.
Because, like, all of these rides are, like, you can almost, like, see the chewing gum and rubber bands that are holding them together. And, like, they're crawling under them. And there's, like, this big Grim Reaper scythe that is real, that is swinging around.
Well,
And, yeah.
It's like this whole, like horror.
Yeah, it's like a horror-themed, like, ride or something. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's obviously, like, rickety as hell.
And everything's like super, like this giant scythe that's swinging past the roller coaster is real. It cuts Chucky's fucking arm off. And you're like, oh my God. Like, how has no one here been sued? And then, like, you know, it all culminates with Chucky falling into a fan. And when I say fan, I'm talking like the biggest exhaust fan you've ever seen in your life. With no grating, no cover, no nothing. Like, it's underneath this roller coaster, and it's like if anybody fell out of the roller coaster, they'd just get shredded, which is exactly what happens to Chucky. And that was supposed to be, like, of the trilogy, that's, like, the definitive end, is he literally just gets pureed in this giant fan, and then you don't know what happens. Because the movie ends, and it's like, well, how are you gonna get out of this one, Andy? Like, there's no the one thing that bothers me is there's no resolution. There's no conversation. It's like, oh, the killer doll kid's back again, huh? Okay, what happened this time?
Yeah. Oh, God. And fucking, and poor Andy, just like the cops roll up and take him away.
Yeah. So.
And it's like, great. Andy's gonna have to, like, try to explain all of this.
Yeah.
Again.
And it's just so ridiculous, because it's like, I really want in on, especially that third conversation, where they're like, Jesus Christ, kid.
It's like, this is the third time you end up in some kind of, like, crazy situation, and you keep blaming it on this fucking doll.
Yeah.
Like,
well, at
what
that
the
point,
fuck is going on?
At that point, I would just be like, run away, Andy. Just get the fuck out of there. Like,
yeah.
Like, they're not going to try you as a minor anymore, so just get the fuck out. Like, run away.
Like, just leave.
Like, take the girl who has a crush on you and take Tyler and leave him in the dumpster and get the fuck out of there. Leave him in the dumpster like his parents did and get the fuck out of there.
Mm-hmm.
So, Child's Play 3 it's not what, it's the furthest, it's further removed, rather, from the original than the second one. The second one still tries to be suspenseful and everything, but there's something about the third one to me that I just find really fun. And I like the performances, and I like just how, like this is the, like I would say Nightmare on Elm Street 3 or 4 of the Child's Play movies, because Chucky is full on leaning into it with the puns and the irony, and he's shitting on the kid, and he's making all these jokes, and, you know, right before that asshole guy I was talking about who was bullying Andy gets shot, Chucky just gives him the finger, and it's, you know, it really is into being schlocky and fun, and I think it's a fun movie. I think it's a good movie to rewatch. Like, if there's a lot of slasher movies, like franchises in particular, where there are movies in there that I will skip. This is not one of them.
Yeah.
I love the first 3 movies. Like I said, I actually find this one more entertaining than the second one. So I would rate this one like an 8.5 or a 9, just because I have a lot of fun with it and I find it more rewatchable. The second one still tries to be atmospheric and tense, and there's long sequences where not a lot happens. In this one, there's shit happening all the time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's it definitely just kind of hits the ground running.
Yeah.
So what would you rate the third one?
I would give it like
out of 10.
Okay, so since I would give like the first one's a 10, obviously it's the standard by which all other films in the series are judged by. I would give this one and if I gave the second one an 8, I would give this one an 8.5. I find this one more rewatchable than the second one, just because of how over the top it is.
Yeah, no, I would definitely agree. Like, as far as scare factor and tension and stuff, I don't think it holds up, but it absolutely like makes up for it in just how entertaining it is.
Yeah, I don't think any of them outside of the first one were really that scary. Or like tried to be very scary. I think the second one tried, but I don't think it worked in several places. So I think the third one just leans all the way into the schlock, and the campiness, and I think that's why I can enjoy it more than on rewatching it more than the second one. I think the first time I saw it, I was like, oh, this isn't as good as the second one. The second one was more like the first one, but being more like the original doesn't necessarily mean it's better, in some instances.
No. Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, I would definitely agree. I'd say like for me probably like 7.5 or 8, somewhere in there for me. Still like super, rewatchable, and just a lot of fun.
I will say that, like, as much as I enjoy the carnival ending here, I think the ending in the toy factory in the second one was a better climax of the film.
Yeah.
Like, I think that was, I think that was just really, really, really cool, because there's just good guy dolls everywhere.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really, they like built a maze out of it and shit.
Yeah. Plus, like, it's like, I don't know, it was just more gruesome overall too.
Yeah.
With just how Chucky was being just absolutely torn apart and then melted and.
Well, yeah, also, the second one, also a big leg up over the third one. The second one does not have Tyler.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
God
it's like you almost,
damn, that kid is annoying.
Like you're almost tempted to, like, dock a point just for Tyler.
Yeah, but, like, I can yell at the screen, like, kill that stupid kid. God damn it. I'm serious. Yeah. Every time he opens his mouth, I roll my fucking eyes.
Like, I feel okay. So I think that's something that the third movie really like kicks off, is when you actually start to kind of almost root for Chucky because of Tyler. Because you're like, all right, come on, get him, Chucky.
Well, yeah. Also, like they were okay. So Andy's older. He's played by a different actor, an actor that we don't have that history with from the first two films. So you don't have a like I said. I think Justin Whalen was a great actor. I think he was really good in all the stuff that he was in, regardless of the quality of the film. Okay, again, Dungeons and Dragons. But that was Jeremy Irons' fault. God, he looked like he was shitting his pants in every scene he was in, and enjoying it. But so there's that, kind of takes you out of like identifying with that character and sympathizing with the character like you did in the first two. But also his replacement is this annoying as fuck extra from Webster, which I believe he was on. It was either. It was Webster, or it was one of the other shows that was like one of the only other things that this kid did. And he sucks. You want this kid to get it just so he'll shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Oh, God.
People have come in while we were yelling about Child's Play 3.
Oh.
Little alternative
Hi,
girl,
Marin.
hello. You're like, Marin? Hello, Marin. You want to know how you do against me in a slasher film, Marin? Are you fucking kidding? Really? You would not do well, my friend. Not at all. You'd maybe make it... You'd be like the second or third kill. So, like, if we're talking about Child's Play, you'd be a memorable kill. You'd be like, you'd be like Garbage Man in Child's Play 3. where you just be a throwaway character that like dies horribly. You're one of the most memorable parts of the film, but hey, at least you're not Tyler, huh?
Yeah, it's true.
There you go.
So true.
Yeah, I'd put you in a garbage truck and put you in this 90s garbage truck, which is like a saw trap. I don't know why. It was like, it had like grinders with spikes on them and shit, but hey, that's just how we got rid of trash in the 90s. We had to absolutely pulverize it. So yeah.
But then that leads us into one of my favorites of the franchise.
Okay.
Bride of Chucky.
Bride of Chucky. Bride of Chucky, that was Ronnie Yu, the same guy who did Freddy vs. Jason. The reason why he got that, he was even up for Freddy vs. Jason, was because he did this movie. Now, I don't like Ronnie Yu. I think he's a hack. I think he was good as a Hong Kong filmmaker. The Bride with the White Hair was the film that he's most known for over there. And that's a good, like, wire kung fu supernatural movie. It's a good movie. But, and this movie is not bad either. But again, this movie is pretty far removed. This is even more further removed from the original than the previous two, because the previous two were still kind of continuing the same storyline. Now, we're doing completely different shit.
Yes. This is like full on embracing the goofy schlock. So, you know, it's like if 3 was the beginning of embracing, you know, all the one-liners and kind of silly elements, this just leans fully into that.
Yes.
And we are graced with the eternal gift that is Jennifer Tilly.
I was wondering when you were going to bring up Jennifer Tilly. Yeah, Jennifer Tilly, who plays Tiffany, Chucky's, or Charles Lee Ray's girlfriend. Because if there's one thing I know about serial killers, it's that they have excellent relationships with women.
But to be fair, she is also just off her rocker. Like, she's nuts.
She is. I think what they were kind of going for with her relationship towards him was like, Richard Ramirez used to get a lot of fan mail in prison. As fucked up as that sounds, he would get nude pictures. He had a lot of fangirls. Which is really insane for someone who was a crackhead with rotten teeth who used to beat and rob old ladies to death. Man,
well, that has,
I can fix him.
Well, like that's existed with a lot of like very
prominent
notorious
serial killers.
Serial killers is like they have a fan base that is largely female. And it's a lot of just kind of unhinged, desperate and lonely women who, for whatever reason, romanticize this man who has done absolutely horrible things.
I believe the proper terminology for that is daddy issues.
Because, like, listen, it's one thing if you've got a thing for, like, fictional killers. Like, that's totally different. When you've got a thing for, like, a real actual person who has destroyed people's lives, like, what the fuck?
Well, it also doesn't help that, like, a lot of the serial killers from the late 70s and particularly the 80s, they were sensationalized. They were basically celebrities as far as the tabloids and the news was, they were in there. Their faces were everywhere and stuff like that. And I mean, it doesn't help now, like, that there was this resurgence where they're like, all of a sudden people are like, oh, Ted Bundy was hot. And it's like, no, he wasn't at all.
No, he wasn't.
He had a unibrow and he was short. And also he was a misogynist. Like,
he was just a fucking guy.
Yeah.
He's just a guy. Like, he's not hot at all.
Ted Bundy got married in prison. Yeah. Ted Bundy also got married in the gas. He got married to the gas chamber in the end too. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's one of those things. It's like, you watch a movie like Monster, where Charlize Theron gained weight, underwent heavy prosthetics and makeup to look more like Eileen Wuornos, who was not an attractive woman.
No.
And they didn't make her an attractive woman. They tried to make her look like a real person, or like closer to what Eileen Wuornos actually looked like.
Yeah.
And then we have the Ted Bundy thing where they cast fucking Zac Efron. And did they even? I don't even think they put any makeup on him. They didn't even give him a unibrow.
God.
Like,
I didn't even bother watching that because
I didn't either.
God, I hated the entire premise of it.
Yep.
Because it's just because unlike Monster, like Monster was a pretty honest depiction. Like even though obviously Hollywood does its thing, like didn't make Eileen look hot, didn't romanticize her at all. Like if anything, it might help you sympathize with her situation a bit.
Well,
but, like, it doesn't.
There was a lot of ambiguity in a lot of her crimes because she was getting picked up by these truckers that she was killing, and they were saying that she was just killing these men in cold blood. She was saying that she was defensively killing them because they were trying to attack her or abuse her or rape her and stuff like that. So unless you were there, how the fuck do you know what actually happened? But you know, they made an example out of her. They're like, oh, you're a woman and you want to kill people like a man. We'll treat you like a man. Let's execute her. That's kind of how that whole fucking thing happened.
Yeah,
which is really shitty. It's the same thing that happened to Dahmer. Not to go off on a serial killer tangent here. Jeffrey Dahmer should not have been in a prison. He should have been in an institution. And Jeffrey Dahmer was one of the few that was actually a truly horrendously insane person. When you see the interviews with him, when you read about the things that he talked about and his perception of reality, you could tell he wasn't as far gone as somebody like Ed Gein, who, by the way, women just threw their panties at Ed Gein back in the 40s, let me tell you. But, you know, he was such a looker with his fucking, like, sagging eye and shit and his his woman suit. But he was crazy, very crazy. He was a person who was sick, and you could see you could actually track the course of his sickness throughout his life if you read the stuff about him. But they were mad that he made the police look like idiots because they just basically let him kill that one guy. You know, when a naked man who's obviously drugged approaches you crying and saying he's gonna kill me, it was...
Well, plus, like
the reason why he got him back into his apartment, the cops are doing, they're like, ew, you're gay? Ew, gross. We don't want anything to do with that.
Yeah,
that's
also,
how that happened.
Also, just the fact that it, you know, like, for one, homosexual, and then also, he also targeted, you know, people of color and everything. So he's basically targeting the people that nobody cares about. That everybody's like, ew, get them away. We don't care that they're dead. And you know, so like, he absolutely belonged in an institution. For you know, like the criminally insane. And I feel like Eileen also should have been institutionalized because if you watch her interviews, she's off her rocker. She's 100% like I don't remember if she was actually diagnosed, but she comes across as like a paranoid schizophrenic.
Oh, absolutely.
And you know, it's like both of them should have been institutionalized. Like they were absolutely.
Eileen, the tragedy of Eileen Wuornos is that she comes across as someone who never had a chance. Who went from a bad situation to a worse situation because it was the only kind of life that she knew. And then
because I mean, she grew up in a terribly abusive situation and then struck out on her own to try and, you know, free herself from that, but still heading into, you know,
But you gravitate towards what you know, and unfortunately when you grow up in a situation or a place like that, what you know is exactly what is damaging you. Definitely. But whereas Jeffrey Dahmer was someone who he slipped under the radar because people just kept dismissing, and like you see the interviews with his mother, and she's the worst. Because she's not my son. She's one of those people, and that is exactly why there was never any red flags raised or anything like that.
What were we? Hang on. What got us on this tangent? I forget.
We were talking about Tiffany.
We were talking about Tiffany and her.
Well, you guys are getting
involved.
You guys are getting lag. You guys are getting lag in the chat? Okay, just refresh the stream.
Yeah.
Just hit refresh and it should fix it.
But yeah, so basically Tiffany is one of the like serial killer fangirls. And she got involved with Charles Lee Ray.
Yeah.
And, you know, obviously like he gets killed or whatever, and she spends a long time like without him until the whole like Chucky stuff happened, and then she's trying to track down the doll and all of that. She got involved with this this absolute just pitiful man.
This fucking schlub.
So his name's Damien, which probably not even his real name.
Yeah.
Who is, you know, he looks like a goth like scene kid who he's
I bet he owns a record store and he lives in his dad's garage. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of those guys.
So
one of those fucking weirdos.
Yeah, so he's basically been like her
sitting here
her
shitting on my son while he's streaming.
So he's basically been her living dildo to pass the time without Charles. So, you know, she finally gets a hold of the doll, kills a cop or whatever. It was like some cop who she had some kind of connection with, and she
that's how she gets in the evidence room.
So, you know, gets a hold of the Chucky doll, brings him back to her little RV trailer, and
so it gets the pieces of him. And also when you're in the evidence room, wasn't there like the Freddy, the glove was in there, and there was all this other shit from other slashers in the evidence room. It's like, what the fuck is that doing in there? Like, this is Batman fucking and Robin, where, you know, Bane's breaking Mr. Freeze's suit out of the fucking Arkham evidence room, and like the Riddler costume and Two-Face's fucking purple suits in there. God damn it. I'm sorry, I made myself sad. I brought up Batman and Robin, but go ahead.
Aww.
Yeah, she gets the leftovers of Chucky, which is in a bag. It's just this pile of shit, and it's all been shredded, you know, to keep in line with the ending of the third film.
Yeah, so she, you know, like stitches him all together and everything, and we get that you know, he gets his, you know, stitched look that also became like kind of an iconic look for him.
Yeah.
And you know, gets him, he's back and everything. At first, like, she tries to do the ritual and everything to make sure that he's back in his body. Thinks it doesn't work, so she's just like, well, whatever. Her boy toy comes in and is looking for a good time. And that's when Chucky, like, you know, I forget where she set him down, but he's suddenly not there anymore. And he goes under her her little couch thing, and Damien, like, she tells Damien, it's like, oh, I dropped a thing, go look for it. And he gets down to, you know, go find the thing, gets him, oh fuck, I forget if he grabbed Chucky at that point, and because I know Chucky didn't actually do anything to him yet.
No, not yet. Yeah.
No, it's not until he's tied up on the bed that you know, thinks that something's gonna happen with him and Tiffany.
I'm just saying, if Jennifer Tilly wants to tie me up on the bed, I'm okay with that. It's even now, like, for real, she's still beautiful and she's awesome.
100%.
She's hilarious, and I love the fact that if you go on Twitter, there's Jennifer Tilly's Twitter, but also she has her own Tiffany Twitter.
Oh my god, I had no idea.
She does.
I love that. But yeah, so yeah. He thinks they're gonna have a good time. Chucky has a very different idea of what that good time is going to be. So yeah, fuckboy gets got.
Yep.
And that kind of like kicks off the movie, the adventures of Chucky and Tiffany.
Hey, Damien, we were just talking about you hypothetically. How's it going?
You were in Bride of Chucky, remember?
Yeah, right.
but yeah, so like it follows them, and Chucky is still very, it's like he wants to get into a proper body. He doesn't want to be a doll anymore. He still has the goal of, it's like, all right, I want a living body. I'm fucking tired of this.
Yeah.
And they wind up entangled with this like this cute couple that they're like high school sweethearts, and they're in love.
Oh, but
you're
aren't you skipping over what happens to Tiffany?
Wait. Oh, yep. Okay, sorry. I got ahead of myself. So basically Chucky and Tiffany have this like big argument.
Yep.
And she locks him in a cage for a while, so he can just kind of stew in how pissed off he is that like she has him trapped. She's having kind of like a power trip with him because she's pissed off at him for disappearing on her and everything. And
just totally unrealistic because he was dead. He was dead, and then he died again, and then he died again, and then he died again. With finality, and then she brought him back, and it's like, why are you pissed that I didn't take out the trash, honey? Like,
so they have their little fight, and she ends up with the doll, that's like this bride doll, and she gets it like as a cruel joke to be like, oh, here you can. I wanted to make sure that you had something to play with or whatever. And
and she throws the good guy version of like a cabbage or like Raggedy Ann at him, and he's like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Yeah, and it's like it's in like a bridal gown and everything.
Yeah.
So yeah. And I forget now like how exactly he gets out. But she
put him in like a cat carrier, didn't she, or something like that?
I think he was still. Oh! I remember. He got a hold of like some kind of little thing, that she dropped in the cage with him. That he was like slowly, cutting through the flimsy little bars.
Yeah.
With it, and that's how he gets out. While he's doing that, she's having herself like a nice bath.
Nice bubble bath.
A little bubble bath, watching Bride of Frankenstein.
So we can't see anything. Thanks. Thanks, Ronnie, you.
Thanks.
Yeah. That's a thing from all sides of the fence here. Yeah. Everybody would have enjoyed that.
And Chucky gets his revenge by dropping, I think he dropped like a toaster or something.
No, he pushes the TV in.
Oh, it was the TV, that's right.
She's watching Bride of Frankenstein, she's taking a bubble bath, and he kicks the TV into the bathtub, so she's screaming and getting electrocuted, and then like the TV pops up, and like the bride is screaming, and like it's this whole fucking thing. It's like this really nice juxtaposition.
So yeah, he, electrocutes her, gets his revenge on her or whatever. Oh fuck, I forget like how it was that she ended up in the doll. Was it Chucky that did it?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does the same ritual that he did for himself to put her in the bride doll.
Yeah. So then she wakes up like, what the fuck? And
she's like, I can't fucking believe you.
He's like, you want to get married or whatever? It's like, you want to be with me? All right, this is how it's gonna be.
Yeah.
So then they're both, that kind of forces her to be in the same boat with him, because if she wants to be in a living body again, she has to help him. Mm-hmm. So yeah, and that's when they end up entangled with the cute little couple that are high school sweethearts, and Daddy doesn't like the guy and doesn't want his little girl running off with this no good RV park.
Yeah, but this is also the first film where there's an absolute dyed-in-the-wool formulaic slasher film cast that I don't give a flying fuck about whether or not they die, because this movie and the next movie lean hard into you're here for Chucky and Tiffany. That's what you're here for. These other people are just bags of meat to get shredded, essentially.
Yeah.
So nobody gives a fuck about these characters. It's more about it turns into this road movie basically.
Yeah.
And
It's,
you didn't know Damien was Wait, Jack, you didn't know Damien was a fuckboy? Hey, he's not a fuckboy. I mean, per se. Like,
I mean,
don't talk about my son like that. Don't you do that. You come in my house, insult my son. That's my job.
We love Damien in this house.
We do. We do.
Where was I? Oh, but yeah, so
I feel like the football dad from Heathers. I love my fuckboy son. I'm sorry. Go ahead. We're talking about Bride of Chucky. That's where we're doing. Oh, we're doing Killer Doll Night. So we're doing all of the Child's Play films. And Damien, the reference is that Tiffany's little boy toy, his name was Damien. I was like, wow, that sounds familiar. I was like, hey, if you end up as Jen Tilly's fucking side piece, like, I'll be proud of you. Like, that's fine.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is nothing to be ashamed of.
Absolutely. So yeah, then they started introducing us to the characters we don't care about. So then we can get back to the characters that we do care about.
Yes, they're just the plot vehicles. They help the plot move along.
Yeah.
But yeah, so girl runs away with boy, and
yeah.
But like, there was a guy in the truck or something, right? That Chucky and Tiffany kill, and they stuff him into this like little storage compartment in the back that the plot vehicles don't know about, and so they just they climb into the truck and they drive off to run away together,
to elope or whatever.
To elope. They like go to this. Were they like in Vegas or something? It was a Vegas type of church.
They're literally going to get like married by Elvis or whatever. Like it's supposed to be like a joke that like they don't care, they just want to be together. Oh, blah blah blah. Montagues and whatever the other name of the family is, and I don't read Shakespeare.
So it's like
Capulets.
So it's like this. So it's this it's like this church / hotel or whatever. So they get married and go to the hotel. I forget if they had discovered the body at that point yet.
And they get married, and and who could possibly give a shit? Where are my killer dolls?
Yeah, and we we get the killer dolls again.
Yes.
When this other couple who are at this hotel, they bust in and they do this whole thing. It was like, oh, we thought this was our room. Oh, we're so sorry. They're actually scam artists who they're there to like very sneakily steal the guy's wallet and like whatever they can pick up while the couple is distracted.
Well, this misunderstanding is happening.
Yeah. And so and then they eventually go back to their room. Chucky and Tiffany see this because they're sat down somewhere in the room.
Yeah.
And so they're like, oh, well, this won't do. Like if they're fucking around with these people's money, that means that they can't get us to where we need to go, and blah blah blah. So so cue one of the most hilarious double deaths in this franchise, where I forget how exactly it happened, but
so yes, the double kill, the couple double kill.
So the amazing double kill. I forget if Tiff like threw a fucking like hammer or whatever at the ceiling, but it's one of those honeymoon suites, and it has a giant mirror up on the ceiling because who doesn't want to watch themselves fuck? So shatters the glass. All the glass comes raining down on the couple, and they cuts them apart, cuts them to pieces, and there's just bloodbath everywhere. And Chucky is super turned on by seeing Tiffany kill these two people.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. He
yeah.
is. He's like, okay, this is a good idea. Like,
yeah, it's like, actually, you know what? I remember why I liked you.
Yeah, right. Maybe I will take out the trash when we get home. You know, like.
And cue a romance scene between Chucky and Tiff.
Yes, where the immortal line is, do you have protection?
Do you have a rubber?
He's like, the hell are you talking about? I am rubber.
she's just like, oh, okay.
So yes, we get instead of couple fucking, we get them getting killed, and then we get doll fucking.
Yep.
Which I haven't seen something this erotic since Black Devil Doll from Hell. And let me tell you, this movie does it way better. Because that movie's a pile of shit.
Oh my god. So they do their thing. Next morning, the couple, and them, they all get back into their truck to head out.
It was a champagne bottle. Ginger's got us. It was a champagne bottle that she threw at the mirror.
Oh, champagne bottle. Okay, thank you.
Also, Faust wants you as a supernaturally possessed killer marketable plush. Werewolf?
No,
Werewolf?
God damn it. Don't make me explain that stupid joke here.
No, we're all dying to know.
No.
No. We have to stop the stream dead so we get the lore.
Fuck. God damn it. So, I don't even remember exactly what I was responding to, but I meant to type that I was like, I'm weeping, but instead I typed, I'm warping. And everybody thought it was the most hilarious thing. I made a meme.
Warping? Was that like morbing? Like,
stand back, I'm gonna warp.
It's warping time.
And so everybody thought that was super funny. And as a joke during a stream, I made a shirt with like a meme version of like me crying that just says warp on it. And somebody actually bought the shirt. Like, I only had it up like for sale during the stream. One person actually bought it.
Oh my god.
That is the only shirt of that fucking meme that exists or will ever exist. So I hope the person who bought it is happy
is
with
rocking
themselves.
that shit and just like laughing to themselves. Meanwhile, nobody else knows what the fuck they're doing or what's happening.
Yep.
Very nice.
So yeah, that's what warp is all about.
Now you know.
Now you know.
And knowing is half the battle.
Okay.
Okay, so you're only getting in on. Okay, so full disclosure, Faust, who is just pointing out all of the technical issues. Like, do you want to be a mod? Like, is that?
just give him slap that mod.
You show up an hour early. You tell me there's delays, there's lag. You're telling me the raid alert. No, the raid alert was late because I had the raid alerts turned off because recently Streamlabs has been such a pile of shit that I've just been disabling them. But when I saw the raid alert come up, I turned it back on. So that's why there wasn't a delay for it. It was literally just that I had them off, and then when I turned it on, it decided to play it. So that's all that was. We're good. You're good.
So they head back out, and I think it's at that point that the couple, they start to realize there's a weird smell in the truck.
Something afoot. Yes.
Yeah. And they're like, I don't know what that is, but I guess we'll go on our merry way.
Mm-hmm.
They wind up picking up a hitchhiker along the way who can also smell that strange, funky smell and notices a little bit of dark red ooze coming out of this little like storage trunk thing that's in the back.
Yeah, I guess I could bring up how the conceptualization of bodies works, but it's a movie, so I'm not gonna get pedantic about it. But yeah, they quickly discover that you know, there's not a problem with the septic tank. It's something else.
Yep. And yeah, so like the guy who's the hitchhiker, you know, they're all just talking and having like a pleasant conversation. And he kind of discreetly, like, he starts to feel kind of like, this is kind of suspicious. What is this? And he peeks inside of the storage box and sees that there's a dead body in there. So of course he freaks out.
And I love it. I love it because of the misdirection that he thinks that they're fucking crazy, killing people like natural born killer style. Like, I love you, Mal. Like,
and the two of them, the couple, each of them is like, oh my god, you killed somebody? What the fuck?
They're fucking blaming him, and he's like, well, I just got here.
Well, and they're like accusing each other of it, and they're like, no, I would never kill somebody. What are you talking about? So it's fucking chaos. I think yeah,
I mean, this relationship. I mean, if any, there was ever an indication that this relationship was not built to last. You know. Yeah. You know, when you just get married and you find a dead body, you're like, all right, I'll help you fucking bury. Don't make this a habit. Like, you know, it's you can't just be stuffing dead bodies in the RV because that's gonna fuck up the carpet. Like, that's not easy to get out, man. Not even with bleach. Also, Zom Danny, thank you for the follow. Join the list of my future victims. It's a good place to be. Good list. Lots of good people on there. Best news for you is that you get to start at the bottom, whereas people like Static, Crow, Marin, yeah, they're all gonna die way before you, so you can at least laugh before you die. Yeah. Willow's also up there, especially because of American Werewolf in Paris. But anyway, go ahead. Bush sucks, all right? But that band sucks. They've always sucked. I don't, like, you will never convince me otherwise. You and your fucking 90s nostalgia. Like, ugh.
Bush is great. Bush is amazing. Stop hating Bush.
Fucking Gavin Rosdale getting his head blown off, and fucking Constantine was the best thing he ever did.
So anyway.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm interrupting.
Yeah.
We're interrupting
Grimm.
the Willow's horror show. I'm sorry, go ahead. And yeah, I threw my arm out when I said that theatrically. You just couldn't see it.
Fuck. Okay, so at that point, Chucky and Tiff are like, you know what? The jig is up. We're gonna kill this hitchhiker guy and take this little misadventure over.
Yeah.
So
yeah, fuck this.
So they
guy.
take over.
Fuck this third wheel.
And that's when, you know, it's like they're like, all right, you're gonna take us to such and such cemetery because Chucky's body still has the amulet that he needs to channel Damballa.
Yes, and this is the first time they bring up this MacGuffin that apparently was essential. So it's like, what the fuck were you doing in the second movie and the third movie where you're like, oh, I'm gonna be a bro or I'm gonna be this kid again? It's like, you didn't have your necklace, asshole. It wasn't gonna work.
You didn't need it for Tiffany, but
yeah, no, apparently this just works when it wants to, but apparently in order to get back to human form you need this amulet. I guess that's the catch or whatever.
Yeah. so like they take these kids hostage and get them to drive toward wherever that cemetery is.
Yeah.
But along the way, the couple, like, they get a little clever. They start to see that the dysfunction between Tiff and Chucky.
Yeah, they notice that their honeymoon is over. So the infighting and the picking at each other and the passive aggressive shit. Yeah.
Yeah. And so they kind of start to like turn Chucky and Tiff against each other, more so.
Yeah.
which you know, that all ends in like chaos and whatever. But you know, but by the end, they still have like this shared purpose of, you know, we want to be human again.
Yes.
So
they're not dropping that at all.
No.
Mm-hmm.
So they get to the graveyard, they dig Charles Lee Ray's body up, and then Tiffany has kind of a moral dilemma.
Yes.
she has this kind of moral crisis where she's like, wait, are we the bad guys?
It's like, what the fuck? What movie do you think this is?
She's like, but they're in love though. They're such a sweet couple and they're in love and we're ruining this for them. And maybe we shouldn't steal their bodies and
and Chucky's like, that's bullshit. Purposes. You're you're letting your emotions run away with you. Like he just literally like launches into this chauvinist tirade. He's like, that's ridiculous. Like, what the fuck have we been doing? Why are we here?
And yeah, so basically it ends in oh fuck, like Tiffany gets set on fire somehow, I forget how. And Chucky gets all fucked up. There's a cop that comes along and is like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, and just like like in real life, the police are absolutely no help.
Yeah, no help at all. But yeah, so it ends with I forget if it was the cop or one of the couples that shoots him and kills him, but Chucky gets shot in his own grave.
Well, also just as an aside, for this movie, in the booth when Brad Dourif was doing all of his scenes with Jennifer Tilly, they were opposite each other in a booth, so they could see each other as they're recording the lines. And when Tiffany dies, he was doing his lines and he was crying, like he had tears coming down his face. He said that she was so blown away by like how into this fucking character that he was. And that's just a testament to Brad Dourif being like, ever since One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, like this guy just puts himself into absolutely everything that he does. Even a movie as schlocky and campy as Bride of Chucky, and especially the follow-up, he's never phoned it in. I've talked about actors, particularly genre actors, giving it like 110% every single fucking time. I've even found movies where I was like Lance Henriksen is one of those actors where like you'll see him in some shit movies and he's still doing a good job. But I've seen him phone it in. Hellraiser, Hellworld. You want to see Lance Henriksen fucking phone it in? Watch that piece of shit. Also you'll enjoy Henry Cavill's first movie ever. And spoilers, he's terrible in it. But hey, at least they didn't CG out his mustache. But Brad Dourif is an actor. I've never seen him phone it in, not even once, regardless of what he's doing. And he's done voice acting for video games. He's done voice acting for, of course, the Chucky movies. He was in Deadwood, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, I already mentioned. He's been in a million things, and he's always fucking just giving it. And in this movie, these, like, not only have, like, the animatronics and the special effects for the film, like, reached, like, a peak where, like, they're able to have the full body doll on screen and it's moving and it's emoting and everything and it looks amazing. Same thing with Tiffany. But, like, you could tell that Brad Dourif and Jennifer Tilly are, like, feeding off each other in this booth.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, going, and just elevating each other on a scene-by-scene basis, and it's fantastic. So, like, if it was not for these two, I'm just gonna say it. If it wasn't Jennifer Tilly opposite him, I don't think this movie would have been as good. Because she fucking
definitely
kills it.
God, yeah, no, she does a fantastic fucking job with this character, and like, and and she doesn't phone it in either.
No,
like she's
not
just,
at all. Not
fully,
at all. Yeah.
Like you can tell she's having a fantastic time.
Yes. I'm sorry, but go ahead. Yeah, Tiffany dies, and then Chucky gets fucking, he, of course, gets his, because he always does in the end of every movie he's in.
Yeah.
Not every movie though, but we'll get to that.
Yeah. And then, so like it's it's at the end, and I think it was the cop that goes down into the grave to like inspect the doll and all that, and make sure that Chucky is dead or whatever.
Yeah.
Then goes over to Tiffany's body, and all of a sudden Tiffany has just gives birth.
Yep.
to
sure does.
like a demon doll baby that just flies out of her vagina and attacks the cop, and then it's roll credits.
Which is, when you think about it, the best way this movie could have ended.
Yes.
With this movie needed that what the fuck moment, and it absolutely got it.
Yep.
So yeah, Bride of Chucky, as far removed as it is from the first 3 entries in the Child's Play franchise, it's still good. But this is very much a different kind of film. Where the first 3 are trying to be like your kind of traditional slasher film that's following the tropes that were established in the original film. This one is just doing its own thing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And,
like it's full on popcorn.
Yeah, and it's got all the references and stuff in it, and all the quips and the back and forth. And yes, like I said, without Jennifer Tilly and Brad Dourif playing off each other and elevating each other's performances like they do in this film, this movie would suck. But it doesn't. This is a really good film. It's a really enjoyable film. And it's still got some good kills. It's still got some good gore. But it is very much... This is not a horror movie. This is very much a horror comedy. Yes.
100% horror comedy.
Yes.
Like... Personally, I would rate it a 9 out of 10. Still, like, I can't give it a 10 just because I love the first one so fucking much, and it is an actual, like, full horror movie. But just for sheer rewatchability and entertainment and just how many times it makes me laugh.
Yeah.
I adore Bride of Chucky.
No, Bride of Chucky's great. Yeah, this is another one that I would give like a... Honestly, I like more straight-up serious horror films. Horror comedies I'm very particular with, but with this one, I think it's really good. So I'd give this one like a 7, or like a 7.5.
That's fair.
I love the original 3 movies, and then this one. This one I don't even consider. Like the Bride of Chucky, Seed of Chucky, they're not Child's Play movies. Like the Child's Play was a trilogy. And then there's the...
They're fan fiction.
Basically, yeah. Also, they're, they feel completely different. But they're still really enjoyable. Which, of course, leads us to good old Seed of Chucky. And this movie's fucking nuts.
It is just, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I love the beginning credits. That's just you're literally like following Chucky's sperms around until they like hit Tiffany's egg and everything. That is
exactly what we needed.
And fuck, if I'm remembering it right, like the actual title that comes up is basically dripping in cum.
Yeah, it's very, very Ichi the Killer, this title sequence.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one, actually, the funny thing is, Seed of Chucky I've only seen once.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I only saw this one once. I saw this one in the theater, and I was like, what the fuck did I just watch? But I do, particularly in this movie, what is his name? Billy Boyd, I believe is his name. Hold on. The thing that threw me about this movie was hearing... First of all, okay, so this movie also establishes the first trans killer doll.
Yeah. They're
very progressive.
Non-binary.
Which for anybody who doesn't know, Don Mancini is and has always been openly gay. He's a gay man, and he's always tried to put some of that stuff in his films and his writing. This was the one where he, like, full on, like, just absolutely was like, look, we're just going to talk about this. And it's going to be the central focus of the film. Billy Boyd. Billy Boyd, who is the voice of Glenn or Glenda, depending, which is obviously an Ed Wood reference. Billy Boyd, for anyone who wants to put a face to the name, the voice behind the puppet, is Pippin from Lord of the Rings. Which fucking threw me. I'm like, what? Are you serious? I had no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that also reminds me of like a little fun fact from the first movie. The cop detective guy. He was the voice actor for Jack Skellington in Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah, Chris Sarandon. He was also Jerry from Fright Night. Jerry the vampire. It's like, Jerry? That's a terrible vampire name. I didn't fucking name him, okay?
I blame my parents. Jeez.
Yeah, but it's interesting to see the Lord of the Rings alumni all gravitating towards horror. Like Dominic Monaghan was on Lost, as we all know, but he also went on to do one of the greatest horror comedies opposite of Larry Fessenden, and that was called I Sell the Dead, which has Angus Scrim, aka the Tall Man, in it. Ron Perlman's in it. It's this amazing, like, period piece Evil Dead movie that's hilarious. And then, of course, Elijah Wood, who was Dildo Baggins. I think that was his name. He went on to do the remake of Maniac, which was really good.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's like everyone who did Lord of the Rings went on to do horror, with the exception of Aragorn, or Viggo Mortensen, because he started in horror, because he started with Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't know he was in that.
My subscription alert, I like liver and onions and pain. That's him in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 fighting Ken Foree, who Viscera and I had dinner with at Sci-Fi Horror Fest. Ken Foree and Leatherface, Ari Mihailoff was there. That was awesome, yeah. And he was sharing his secrets of making the perfect fries. Because he asked,
oh my god, Viscera told me about that.
Yeah, he
shared them.
Yeah, because he was like, it's like, all right, what are your seasoned fries? And they were like, oh, we just use Old Bay seasoning. He's like, I don't like Old Bay seasoning, so this is what you do. And he was like, onion powder, garlic powder, and he was going through this whole list. And then he shared them with us. He was passing them around the table, so we got to have dinner with Leatherface, and he was sharing cooking tips with us, and it was amazing. It's just one of those good memories that you have, and Angela from Sleepaway Camp was there, and Doofy from Scary Movie was there.
Doofy, we love you.
It was a fun dinner. That was a good dinner. That was a good time. But yeah, Seed of Chucky is one of the first times in horror. Now, obviously, like, there are other films that have tackled the issue of a trans character, or particularly a trans, like, slasher villain. But never in a good way. Never in a realistic way. Like, mostly we get things like Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs, which is like, okay, people that identify as a separate gender or are trans or something like that are not serial killers just because. And it's the same thing with, like, Windows, where it's like, lesbians don't just kill people. That's not a thing. Like, lesbians don't just go on killing sprees because this one girl that they like won't fuck them. That is the same thing with High Tension, like Alexander Aja. As much as I love his films and stuff like that, you watch High Tension and you're like, okay. So at the end of the film, you're like, wait a minute. Are you telling me that the main character has dissociative identity disorder and identifies as an old man who kills women because...
Oh my god. Imagine like, having a fucking, like, separate identity that's an incel. I could never.
I just, like... It's one of those things where you don't see. There was a lot of Well, first of all, there was a lot of ignorance way back in the day about this. So they demonized and villainized what they don't understand, which is the classic human foil of the dumbass people that are like, oh, I'm gonna make a movie about this. Like, oh, you know, that's one of the reasons I hate Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4. I know a lot of people have come around to liking this movie. Fuck all of you. Get out of my chat. But the reason for it is, like, someone who identifies as an opposite gender than they are born as or assigned at birth is not a reason for them to be a slasher villain or a serial killer or to eat people's skin. That is not a thing. Most trans people that I know are very nice, and as far as I know, have not killed anybody or eaten anybody. And that's coming from a guy that kills people every fucking day, basically. And I'm not either. I'm not any of those things. I just hate you.
No.
I just want you to stop breathing my air. That's my motivation. So
there's not enough of it. Grimm needs more air. You're taking it from him.
I do. You're tainting it. You're tainting it with your Fortnite and your Minecraft and your fucking stupid TikTok bullshit. So with this movie, they do it in the most like ridiculous way possible, where they have a killer doll who was born from sex between two killer dolls. Who comes out as trans. You know, he's Glenn or Glenda. He's sometimes I feel like a girl, sometimes I feel like a guy. He's non-binary. You know, he runs the whole gamut of modern gender politics and identification and stuff like that. Especially in a time where like people were not talking about like non-binary identities. In the way that we do now. Well, now, so like, it's still subject to ridicule from a certain ignorant group of assholes who just refuse to stop.
Sure.
I mean, these are the same people that would have been throwing stones at their own shadows and using ear candles to cure cancer. So nobody gives a fuck what they think about anything. But this film came out before the gender politics thing kind of like became huge on social media and stuff. So it was a little ahead of the curve. And there's like these kind of like heart-rending like sequences where like he's talking to Chucky and he's like, sometimes I feel like a girl, sometimes I feel like a guy. And Chucky
and it's kind of
no, go ahead.
Like it's kind of cute because like Chucky's problem is not that like his kid is non-binary. Chucky's thing is he just has that very like kind of chauvinist thing where he's like, but I want a boy though. Don't you want to be a boy? Don't you want to be just like your old pop?
Yeah, and he's trying to identify with his son, but he doesn't get it. But you got to remember, Chucky's an '80s guy, you know.
He's being like
he's trying
an '80s dude who has spent more time being dead than alive,
being a living killer doll. Yeah, we got to give him a break. Yeah. Like he's doing his best. Like it's not like when Grandma is just casually racist Christmas. You know, this is something that where you're like, you know, you can see that he's trying, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, you're not doing it in the right way. You know?
Yeah.
It's like, just tweak it a little.
And meanwhile, like Tiffany is like, but I want a girl though.
Yeah.
Like,
I've always wanted a,
like,
it's like both, tug of war. Yeah.
Yeah, they're both like projecting onto their child as, you know, parents tend to do.
And that's right, Hex, and also hello. Chucky's big issue is that he doesn't want to kill. He doesn't want to take up the family traits. Like, I don't care if you're a girl or a boy, but god damn it, you're gonna be a doctor. You know, like
Yep.
That is his main problem.
Yep. It's like, oh my god, and I love that fucking like Glenn/Glenda, they have a made in China like birthmark basically. And like they come out with a British accent because why not?
Yeah, because Billy Boyd was cast.
Yeah, just cause.
Even though I don't think Billy Boyd is British, I think he's Scottish. But
yeah, so Seed of Chucky is just kind of it definitely centers, you know, Glenn and just kind of their journey of self-discovery and struggling against, like, you know, their quote-unquote birthright, basically, of, you know, this pressure to be a killer, and like, well, my father is this horrible killer, and so like, what does that make me? And like, and my mom is also nuts.
Well, I mean, that's just it. He's having trouble separating himself from the whole his environment and his family and stuff like that. Like, you know, trying to establish his own identity, or their own identity rather. So,
well, like, and plus, like
they're a very surprisingly endearing character for a creepy pale doll with sharp teeth.
Yeah, like they look super just like off-putting and strange, but because of just the characterization and everything, like they're really endearing. Like you can't help but like them. And Tiffany is definitely trying to be like more understanding and being like a gentle mother, and like arguing with Chucky about, it's like, well, if they don't want to be a killer, then, you know, they don't have to, and maybe they're right, maybe we kill too much, we have a problem. It treats it like it's fucking like they're addicted to killing. It's like, we need to go to Serial Killers Anonymous.
See, that's where the movie lost me, because I don't understand that, because killing people is awesome. So I don't get why you would ever want to stop. I'm with Chucky on this. Like, I'm fine with you identify as whatever. Like, that is absolutely your prerogative and your decision, and I stand by you with that. But as far as not killing people, what the hell is your problem?
It's like,
have you met people? Have you been outside? Have you ever been in a Starbucks? Like
even me, like, I'm generally a nice person, I would like to think. I'm not out to try to kill people,
except for certain times of the month. But I'm talking about the moon, by the way. That is not a fucking.
But, you know, I still do kill people on occasion,
and that's fine. You know what? You do you. Pop off, queen. There we go. That's how we encourage things around here. You could kill more people and I'd be fine with it. Yeah, I've got an entire shed full of quicklime. Don't even worry about it.
At least I know I have a friend who will always make sure that whatever's left will be disposed of.
That's the best part about being me, because I kill people with like knives and shit. Most of my friends are like monsters or some variation of that. So they like eat people, which is awesome because there's so much less to get rid of.
It's the silver lining.
Yeah, it is. I don't eat people. That would be weird.
But yeah, so the movie is just kind of like, it's super strange. It's very weird.
It is. It's a bit all over the place, but it's also like it's again, nobody gives a flying fuck about any of the pressurized cans of blood soda that are the characters that like get killed and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We don't care about them at all. We are 1000% invested in Chucky and Tiffany and Glenn or Glenda, and their family dynamic and the way that the movie progresses.
Also something interesting about it is like the reintroduction of Jennifer Tilly as Jennifer Tilly. Like, she's playing herself.
Yeah, that was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like it's meta on top of meta. Like,
yeah, because it's almost like they treated Bride of Chucky as, okay, that is the film that Jennifer Tilly was, starring in,
but that film happened, and Tiffany exists, and Jennifer Tilly exists, and then Tiffany possesses Jennifer Tilly, and you're like, what the fuck is happening? And like Tiffany calls Jennifer Tilly, and Jennifer Tilly's like, don't fucking imitate my voice. I don't sound like that. And it is the most hilarious shit ever. Like, those conversations are great.
Oh my god. And it gets super fucked up like toward the end where like Chucky jerks off and gets his,
because that's what we needed in this franchise.
yeah, so he jerks off so that he can artificially inseminate Jennifer Tilly so that they can have, I think the goal of it was so that he could possess like the child and have like a brand new start.
Well, that's just it though. He's a doll and she's a woman, so wouldn't it be half doll? Wouldn't it be some fucked up fly monster like from the end of Dave Cronenberg film or something?
Yeah. So she's all tied up and everything and knocked out. He artificially inseminates her. She gets pregnant, and because this is like weird voodoo magic pregnancy,
fucking
her
voodoo magic man. Fucking Predator too.
Her gestation is like all of like a week or something.
Yes.
And yeah, so like she ends up giving birth to twins. And
like you do.
like you do, and I forget the circumstances of this, but I know that that their soul wound up getting split between the twin children that are born. And that's how we get Glenn and Glenda.
Yeah.
And at that point, Tiffany takes over. I think she takes over Jennifer's body. So and they killed Chucky at some point.
Yep.
So it's like, so Tiffany in Jennifer's body just kind of fucks off and is like, all right, well, I have my little family and I'm free of Chucky. And so we're just gonna go and like have our fun, happy lives as normal people. And that's where we get the end sequence where a package is delivered because it's the twins' like birthday or something. And well, it wasn't the full Chucky. It was like his arm or something. Yeah. That got mailed over as like a sign of, hey, I'm still around and I'm coming for you. And that's where it ends.
So this one, what are you rating this one?
I'd have to give it like a 5.
Ooh, damn! Took a nosedive.
Don't get me wrong. I love the character of of Glenn/Glenda. This definitely has a lot of like really funny.
No. We're not we're talking about as a film. We're not talking about politics. We're not talking about taking stances and stuff like that. We're talking about like overall as a horror film, as a horror comedy.
But overall, like, it's kind of a 5 for me. It's not as fun as Bride of Chucky for me.
Yes.
It's not really scary.
No.
And it like just personally, it is kind of like super fucked up that basically Jennifer Tilly gets impregnated against her will. That's a little like, I get it, whatever. But I didn't like it.
I would also give this one like a 6. Like, I enjoy it. I enjoy it. I enjoy the progressive themes. I enjoy the back and forth between Chucky and Tiffany and Glenn or Glenda, like that whole dysfunctional family aspect of it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel like a Child's Play movie. It doesn't feel even whereas Bride of Chucky didn't feel like a Child's Play movie per se. It felt like a spin-off. This one is like a spin-off of the spin-off.
Yeah.
And this got about as far away from the franchise as I'm comfortable with. Like, I still think it's a good movie. I still think it's worth watching. So that's why I give it above average, which is like a 6. But that's why it's kind of middle of the road for me, why I'm going with 5, because I think 5-6 is fair for this movie. Yeah. Just because, like, for me, it's just not as entertaining. Yeah.
as the
No.
other films in general. And you know, it's like as much as I love certain parts of it, it's just not as good.
Well, that's okay, because we're about to lean right back into horror, because next up is Curse of Chucky, starring Fiona Dourif, Brad Dourif's daughter. This one,
she is fucking amazing.
She's fantastic in this. She's fantastic in this. She's also in a wheelchair. She cannot walk, which gives you that. Whereas in the original Child's Play films, you had a child who definitely has certain disadvantages. You sort of pseudo replicate that with someone who is handicapped. And who was reliant on not only the people around her, but also like an elevator or a chairlift or something like that. So you definitely have someone who is at a disadvantage when Chucky shows up. And yes, Hex, what's going on, buddy? Good to see you. You thought Seed was before Colt. That is true, but you have to understand that there's Child's Play 1, 2, and 3. They're a continuity, right? Then you have Bride of Chucky, Seed of Chucky. They're in their own universe, spin-offs.
Yeah.
Then Curse of Chucky comes back in after Child's Play 3. So the timeline is a little fucked, and you got to do some research to understand where this fits in. But this would fit in years after the end of Child's Play 3.
Yeah.
So this one, again, Chucky somehow gets mailed to the wrong person. Which, luckily, it's not Tyler when he's older, because I can't imagine that Tyler older would have been any less insufferable than he was in 3. Thankfully, it's Fiona Dourif, who is living in this really nice house. Like, this house is awesome.
Oh yeah, like inherited from because she's living with her what was it? It was her mom. Yeah, so it's like her mom.
Yeah, she's living with her mom
together.
And she's kind of
and
got
they
like
inherited.
Yeah, she's kind of got that kind of weird relationship with her mom, where her mom's like super overprotective of her because she's handicapped. It's like, look, Mom, I can do things for myself. I'm not fucking like an invalid. And she, of course, is pushing back against the overprotectiveness, and that comes into play later.
Well, like, and her mom like says this really fucked up thing when like the guy who delivers the package that is Chucky, it's like seems to like her and is kind of giving signals like, oh, I think, it's like just being a little more friendly than is like casual, like kind of showing some interest, and she shows interest back, and she's like, oh my god, like I think like he
oh
likes
shit,
me,
maybe
I should get his number or something.
Maybe he's here to fix the cable and deliver my pizza and clean the pool. You never know.
Yeah, and then her mom like shoots her down and is like, no, he would never go for
it just
you.
Comes flying into frame and cock blocks her daughter. So yeah, and just like shoots her down with that, and and it's like it's not that her mom is like a bad person necessarily. It's not that she like wants to like doesn't like her daughter or anything. No,
it's just
but
that
you can tell
very
that
overprotective.
Yeah, she definitely is in that mindset that her daughter is made of glass.
Yeah.
One of those kinds of parents that means well, but is definitely like crossing some fucking boundaries.
Absolutely.
Go ahead
like,
and continue the review. I actually have to step away. I have to I'm getting some really bad stuttering on my screen here because like we have turned into a slideshow. So I'm gonna try to fix that. So I will be right back.
Okay. So that's kind of the dynamic between her and her mom, and then her sister and her family come over, and they like basically they want the house. They want to sell the house and just get rid of it. But the main protagonist of what was her name? Nika. She wants to keep, their grandmother's house. Like it's very nostalgic for her. She like grew up there. And they kind of have this argument of, it's like, well, we know that she left it to you in her will, but you are in a wheelchair and this is a big place, and when mom dies, like what's gonna happen? You know, it's like when you're all on your own, can you really take care of yourself? Like they all really like, you know, underestimate her because she's in a wheelchair. And you know, and you can see just like how pissed that makes her, and which understandable, you know, to to treat a handicapped person as if like they can't do anything for themselves or they're completely helpless is fucked up. So that's kind of the treatment she's getting from her family. But anyway, while, you know, all of this is happening and like her sister and their family decide to stay for dinner, Chucky, you know, like has been unpacked at that point, and her sister has a daughter who is like, oh, that's a cool doll and everything, and winds up giving Chucky to her as a gift. So, of course, obviously, not a great idea, but they don't know. They have no idea, you know, who Chucky is or any of this. So, so they're all just like, you know, they're getting ready for dinner, and you see Chucky at one point put rat poison into one of the bowls of like soup that's being made, and then, you know, like skitters off and nobody sees him do it. And so then you get treated to like this dinner scene where everybody's eating, but you don't know which bowl is the one that's been poisoned. So they were also there. I forgot to mention, they were also there with a priest, which I don't remember exactly why he was there, but they were there with a priest. So they're all just having dinner and having conversation and whatever. And then the priest suddenly like doesn't feel so well and excuses himself, and he, you know, drives off, and you know, he's the one who's been poisoned. So I think if I remember correctly, he, you know, like gets into a car accident, just swerves off the road because you know, he's not feeling so good. But then like from that point, it's like, okay, Chucky has made his first kill, and it kind of amps up from there, where he's talking to the little girl, and she, you know, is got those telltale signs of, you know, it's like the child is talking to the doll and thinks that the doll is talking back, and all like the classic Chucky setup. And the movie basically just goes through, you know, Chucky just terrorizing these people one by one. And it's all throwing doubt onto Nika, because, you know, she has motive as far as, you know, it's like, no, I want to keep this house, and you're all, you know, you're all trying to take it from me. I think the first person who dies after the priest is her mother. And she, like, takes a tumble off of the, upstairs, you know, over the banister, and just falls and dies. And so there's that whole, you know, tragedy and everything, and they're dealing with that, and so through the movie, just one by one, people are dying.
Are we talking about the mom?
Yeah, we were talking about the
okay.
mom dying.
All right, I'm back, by the way. I fixed shit, so we're good.
Okay, good. And yeah, so she takes that tumble like over the banister. They all think that she killed herself. And yeah, and that's, I think that actually happened before Nika's sister and family and the priest come over.
Yes.
Yeah, that was okay. So that I remember that's why the priest was there. I was explaining like the dinner that they had. I'm like, I remember there was a priest, but I don't remember why he was there. But now we know.
Yeah. Wait, real quick.
Yeah.
What were my thoughts on Mad God? I love Mad God. I love Phil Tippett. And the end.
So yeah, so that's just kind of the movie of, you know, Chucky terrorizes everybody, is you know, killing everybody one by one, and all of the suspicion is like on Nika.
Yeah, and it's a return to form. It's definitely a big throwback to the original films, with one person seems to know what's going on, and then everybody else doesn't believe her, and then even when they start to believe her, boom, they're dead. So it's
Yep.
like constantly being reset. And it's got a hell of a nice, like, the chase sequences and stuff, because she's in the wheelchair. And there's a lot of scenes of her, like, trying to crawl to get away and stuff like that. It definitely heightens. There's some good tension in this movie. Plus, she's living in, like, the Hammer horror films Dracula's mansion. So it's also, like, got this amazing atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed Curse of Chucky. And also, then there's the amazing post-credits, like, sequence there.
Wait, what happened post credits? I don't think I waited for the stinger.
Where he shows up at Andy's place, and Alex Vincent is playing Andy again.
Oh, fuck.
You missed that? You did?
I missed that.
Oh,
I missed that. No.
Okay.
Like,
so
like the credits rolled, and I didn't know that there was a post credit scene.
Yeah, he so a package shows up at an apartment, and the person brings it in and everything, and it's sitting there, and then Chucky bursts out of it, but it's Alex Vincent and it's Andy, and he's ready for him. And he fucking blasts, he's got like a gun on him and everything, and he's like, yeah, I know, did you really think that I wouldn't see this coming, that I didn't know what you were trying to do? Because we're going back to the original canon of, we're basically ignoring Bride and Seed.
Yeah.
So yeah, Chucky thinks he gets the drop on him, but he doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where he got the Chucky head in Cult.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So now I understand that bit. Like, because in Cult he has this like Chucky head that's still alive, and he basically just tortures. And I was like, where'd he get that from? But now I know.
Yep. So yeah, Curse was good.
Yeah.
I liked Curse. I enjoyed it.
I really liked it.
I enjoyed it more than Bride or Seed, but I don't even like kind of rank it as the same. Like, it's definitely I think a really nice return to form, and of course that ending stinger of it getting back to Andy and kind of pulling him back into it was really good. So I would give that one like a 7. 7.5, something like that, because just it's got some really good sequences, and again, it goes back. It's got the POV shots from the original, but again, it's one of those things where it's like you can't go back. It's like Metallica, right? As much as I hate Metallica, this is a good euphemism for it. Where like they tried to do Saint Anger and go back to like unlearning how to play their instruments and shit like that and sound like a metal punk band. It's like, yeah, that doesn't work because you guys are old and you sold out and you suck. But this movie tries to go back to the atmosphere and tension of the original film. But like you have that audience awareness is one of the things that kind of sabotages a lot of the tension and stuff, because we all know who Chucky is and what Chucky's about, even if the characters don't. So we're steps ahead of the narrative, which is a problem when you try to do a throwback like that. But I still think that Curse of Chucky is the best since
since the third one.
Yeah, since the third one. And honestly, I know a lot of people would say, oh, it's right up there with the second one or whatever, and that's fine. I get that. But I really, as someone who really enjoys the third Child's Play film for all of its ridiculousness, I would rank this one. I'd give this one like a 7 or like a 7.5.
Yeah, no, I would definitely agree.
And then Cult of Chucky, you're actually on your own. I haven't seen it.
Oh man. Oh fuck, I don't want to fuck. Do you care about being spoiled? Because
no, I'll watch it, but no, I don't care about spoilers. Yeah.
All right. So Cult of Chucky follows. We're following Nika, because at the end of Curse, she is basically found to be they deem that she's insane. Yeah. And she gets sent to an institution. Yeah. So Curse or Cult. We pick back up where she is. She's been institutionalized for a while now, but they're moving her to a minimum security.
No, they're moving her to Smith's Grove on Halloween. It's bad omen. Sorry, go ahead.
And yeah, so like, you know, she'll actually have privacy. It's kind of a step up, and she has, like, with her therapist, she has basically accepted the narrative of she invented the persona of Chucky, and she is the one who actually killed her whole family and everything. So she's kind of like accepted this as the explanation, and that she must have had just
A
split
psychotic
in her
break or something. Yeah.
yeah, like a psychotic break. So she's been convinced of this by her therapist, and she's just accepted that and is like working on herself and all of this. And so they're like, okay, well, you know, we think that you're ready to be moved into this other facility where it's, you know, less security, you have more privacy, more just kind of better quality of life. So she gets moved there, and of course, a Chucky doll gets mailed to the facility.
Of course, like you do.
Because I think it was Tiffany / Jennifer Tilly that sent it there. And you know, she comes in at some point and is basically like, you know, I just wanted to, you know, give this as a gift. I thought that, you know, it might help in some way.
So here's my question: is Jennifer Tilly like herself, or is she Tiffany, or is she somebody else?
She's Tiffany.
She's Tiffany.
She's Tiffany.
So now we're bringing fucking Seed, and oh my god.
Yeah.
What are they doing?
Like Bride and Seed is still considered canon.
What the fuck? Okay, I thought we got away from that with Curse,
Nope.
but goddamn.
Nope.
Okay.
So all of that is still canon, carrying into Cult, and also the show. But anyway, so, you know, so Chucky is there, and then a second doll winds up in the facility, and so then there's this whole like, okay, well, which one is actually Chucky? And as far as like the therapist is concerned, this is about like, you know, exposure therapy of, you know, like, we don't want you to be afraid of this doll anymore. You've accepted that you're the one who actually killed your family, and you know that it wasn't this doll. So we just want to, you know, present you with this, see how you feel about the doll. Do you want to like interact with the doll, kind of see where you're at, and make sure that like you fully accepted your, you know, the fact that you were delusional, that you had a psychotic break, and all of this. So that's kind of like the therapist's reasoning behind all of that. So, you know, and she's like, yeah, I get it. It's just a doll. It was me that killed my family and whatever. And there's another patient there who, she has this thing about babies, and she wants the doll to like be her baby, and they're like, okay, well, you know, go ahead and take him. So okay. Chucky, she's treating Chucky like her surrogate infant, basically, throughout the movie. And yeah, it kind of follows Nika and how she's navigating life in this new facility, and sort of making a couple friends here and there. But, you know, obviously things start to go pear-shaped pretty quickly. One person dies because, you know, obviously Chucky kills this patient. He fires off this like this oxygen tank into the ceiling, and it's a glass. It's like a glass. The full ceiling isn't glass, but it's just a portion of it, so you can kind of see, you know, into the sky and whatever. Right. So shoots that through there, and we get another kind of repeat of like, oh, the glass rains down and and kills her. So, you know, taking a page out of Tiffany's book, I guess, in kills. So that happens, and, you know, we start to see more people die, and of course, because Nika is the newest person there and has a history of killing people, everybody suspects her. And she starts freaking out as far as like, oh my god, what what if it was the doll? And so the therapist sits her down and is like, okay, well, let's figure out how we can prove to you that this is not the doll. And they take a lighter to one of the doll's hands, where his hand kind of like half melts and there's no reaction. And she's like, okay, like he definitely would have been in enough pain to react to that. So I guess this is just a doll, and I'm just kind of regressing a little bit because this is a stressful situation.
Right.
So we're still left with the questioning of like, okay, well, if that's not the doll, like if that's not Chucky, obviously the other one that is like the woman's baby, that one must be Chucky.
Right.
Throughout the movie, you find out they're both Chucky.
Yeah, I heard something about multiple Chuckies, and like he found some way to split his soul throughout different dolls and stuff like that. And I was like, what
he
the
does
fuck?
he does a Voldemort.
Oh, okay.
Where, you know, he's basically
Chucky
like
is his own Horcrux. Okay, I got it.
Yeah, he's basically splitting his soul into several little pieces, and spreading himself out between several dolls.
Yes, you're a transphobe, Harry. Like, I'm just sorry, I can't. The fucking Harry Potter.
God.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, and then we find out that that Nika's therapist is like a super huge like piece of shit. He has apparently been hypnotizing her and SAing her.
Oh, for fuck's
and,
sake, really?
Yeah, like it doesn't show it happen, thank God, but
at least, okay.
But,
it doesn't venture into I spit on your grave territory, okay.
No, but it basically just like it gives you enough that you know that this has apparently been happening for a while. And like he winds up getting like interrupted before anything can actually happen. Chucky, he tries to do it again later on.
What the fuck?
Chucky,
okay.
Yeah. So like, cause he got interrupted the first time, so later on he tries it again. Chucky, takes I forget exactly how he did it, but he put himself into Nika, but he doesn't have full control over her. Like it's almost like a split personality where they're both in her head.
All right.
So he takes her over at that point. She kills the therapist guy.
Good.
Yep, very good. He gets his. And so now we're dealing with, like, we've got two killer dolls. We have Nika, who has been compromised, because she has a piece of Chucky in her now.
Yeah, she's like partially possessed or something. Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, so things are, going crazy. People are dying left and right. And then comes Andy. Like, he comes to try and like save the day because he figured out like where, Nika was. He found out that, the Chucky dolls had gone there. And so he goes there to take care of the problem. Mm-hmm. And Jennifer Tilly rolls up at one point. I forget what happened to her at that point. But anyway, Chucky gains control of Nika again, escapes the Institute, meets up with Jennifer. She's like his escape ride. And they go off. Andy winds up trapped in the institution. And it kind of ends on sort of an ambiguous note of like, okay, obviously they're going to continue this in another movie. But instead of a movie, we get the show.
Okay, so in the grand scheme of things, where do you think Cult of Chucky falls? Because I've heard good things about it. I just haven't gotten a chance to sit down and watch it. Like Curse was the last one I was like, oh shit, I really want to watch this. I heard it was really good, and it was.
No, like Cult is definitely good. It's definitely hits the ground running. There's so much that happens. There's a lot that I've left out just because it's a lot. But no. Really
Faust is right. There's a post-credit scene for this one too, which is where I heard that Kyle comes back.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, So yeah, so I would rate it pretty on par with Curse.
Okay, I definitely have to watch that because I enjoyed Curse a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well,
so,
shit. I guess I got some catching up to do. I watch a lot of crap. I watch a lot of stupid shit. I'm currently writing 3 reviews for 3 different fucking movies, none of which have anything to do with Chucky or anything to do with each other. So yeah, it's on top of all the other shit I do. But yeah, I will make the time to watch Cult because I've heard good things about it.
Good, and then you have to make time to watch the rest of the show because I know you've seen a little bit of it.
Yeah, I watched the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, but yeah,
and I enjoyed it.
The show has 2 seasons, I think, 2 or 3 seasons.
Yeah.
And it's still ongoing as far as I know.
I know Devin Sow was in it. I'm a big Idle Hands fan, so.
Yeah. And I'm not going to cover everything that happens in the show because that's a ton of information.
Yeah.
But I can vouch that it's really good. I had a great time with every episode.
Well, I liked what I saw of the show. And I would recommend, just based off the 2 episodes that I saw, it's absolutely worth pursuing if you're a fan of Chucky or if you're just, you want something else to binge because, like you said, there's 2 seasons now. It's got some great performances, some good names attached to it. And again, Don Mancini has had something to do with every single one of these films. So not any of these films has gotten terribly far away from the creator, which is rare. Because you look at you look at Halloween, you look at Friday the 13th, you look at Nightmare on Elm Street, Hellraiser, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, all of basically, from film to film, it's a completely different writer, it's a completely different director, essentially. So they don't, and a lot of them want to put their own stamp on it, which means that they're changing a lot of shit, or they're changing the meaning, or the references mean something different in this context and shit like that. Whereas Don Mancini being involved in all of the Child's Play stuff, with the exception of the remake, which we're not talking about because it sucks. The
remake? What are you talking about?
It's awesome. They remade Nightmare on Elm Street. That's news to me. But yeah, no. So I think the overall thing is that the overall message here is that the Child's Play franchise is one of the few that's actually managed to have something to offer with all of them.
Yeah,
to varying degrees. I've never seen I've never seen a Child's Play movie, even Bride of Chucky, even Seed of Chucky, which I know is, that one in particular is divisive. I know a lot of people think that movie sucks. I watch all of them and I'm like, each one of these is a good horror movie or a horror comedy in its own right. And each one of these stays true to the character.
Yeah.
Respectively.
I've never been mad at any of the Chucky movies. Even Seed, there are parts of it that I crack up at. There are parts that I really like. Even if I think it's the weakest of the franchise, it's still a fun film.
Well, yeah, it's the worst. It's if I'm gonna liken it to something, it'd be like Dark Souls. The worst From Software Dark Souls game is still better than 90% of the other shit in the same genre out there. So
yeah, and
that's good.
For if you want to see more character development for Glenn/Glenda, they show up in the show. So
well, that's all we need. I do know there's one awesome line from the show where the character is it says something, and Chucky is it's like I don't have a problem with that. He's like, I've got a trans kid.
Yeah. So
the character says something to him. He's like, I love my son. He's like, I'm not a monster.
Yeah, because the one of the main protagonists is gay, and his father has a problem with that. But Chucky's like, that's not a problem. I've got a queer kid.
Yeah,
it's they're non-binary, and
and he's like, I'm a killer, not a monster. He said he makes some like aside like that, and it's like it harkens all the way back to that like even killers love their mothers kind of thing. Like, you know, like there is a bit of self-awareness and humanity even in these horrible characters that do monstrous things. Doesn't necessarily mean that they are devoid of any form of empathy. So yeah, that's fantastic, and that has been our
3-hour review of
like 2 hour and 45 minutes of this stream is devoted to just talking about Chucky. But you know what? It's killer doll stuff, and if you're going to talk about killer dolls, you have to talk about Chucky. You have to bring up Child's Play.
Yes. Because
it was the first film in a franchise of films, but it was the first film to really, I think, nail it 100%. The original Child's Play is a classic for a reason, and it holds up, and it's still worth going back and revisiting.